What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, Heavy the Hero, back again with another video. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Let me know. Y'all know how I go down. Let me know if y'all hear me. The sound is straight. Should look like it's good. Man, I done left my AirPods. We're gonna have some folks join call-in show today. So if you tapped in and you want to join the live stream, let me know. We'll get it started like we always do. We gotta take it back. Hey, get that drink too. My man Chicago Juice say get that drink. All right, yeah. Do that. Let's go. Shout out to Steven Allen Music, man. First person in the chat, man. That's big. That's big. Shout out my man, the Pope, B Frank, in here in the building. JV the Great in the building. Chicago Jew, sound good. All right, in the building. Cheers to y'all. I'm down there tripping, man. I don't know why. We've been my fiance was doing that what they call that shit, sober. Nah, I guess they do that no October stuff, but she off on in September, chilling and all of that jazz. So she was so I don't know, we've been off the drinks for a little while, like we ain't been on it. So my cabinet down there bare, so I'm trying to figure out what we sipping on this evening. Slim can't hoop in the building. What's up, Slim? So tonight, man, tonight, I want to go through a few different things. Obviously, we're going to talk Hornets. We're going to talk my man, LiAngelo Ball. We're going to talk Jello Ball. A lot of stuff. There's some, I feel like when I went to that game, there's just so many different things that came up that I wanted to address and talk about in this video. And also, I want to hear some of the things that you all have to say about the current trajectory of that Hornets team. But with that as well, we'll probably get into some other stuff and just in the NBA, Draymond Green, the Warriors, that whole debacle to me is such an interesting situation. Let me tell this. There you go. Such an interesting dynamic that they got going on. So we'll do all of that, man. We'll probably pull up some clips and watch them as well. But let's get it going. Let me see. Malaya in the building. What's up, Malaya? I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry, y'all know I always be off on these names. Willie Quinez in the building. Shout out to Willie. All right, let me hit this.
Triple B's! AB the Hero. Back at it, baby.
Yeah, all right, y'all know what it is. Let me see. Hey, my man Pope, if you trying to join, oh, there you is. If you trying to join, boy, my bro, let me know. And let me pull this up as well, man, because this is a big thing. I'm gonna see if we get some folks want to jump in here. What is the name of that thing? Close enough. There it is. Just Willie Q. All right. So let's get it started, man. Here, obviously, it's preseason for the Hornets right now. Things are going as planned and are not going as planned. I think one of the biggest conversations that folks have talked about and want to talk about, Bouknight out. All right, let's I like that, man. Let's start off on Bouknight. Then we'll work our way into Jello once we, make sure we got everybody in here so we not 100% having to double back. My girl phone, mine about to die. All right. Ball facts in the building. Let me see. Let me send this. All right. We'll talk about the boy Bouknight for a second. One of the things that I feel is interesting about the Bouknight situation is for a while, folks really was, especially last season when he wasn't getting the burn that a lot of people thought he should have been getting. People was on the Hornets' head about the talent level of a James Bouknight and what he brings to the organization and all of that stuff. And I think that Bouknight currently is a great cautionary tale for also the journey of Jello, right? When you look at a guy like James Bouknight, who's played some pretty solid minutes. I believe he had like 28 to 30 minutes in this last game. Probably only got up. Let me pull it up. I think he got. Game tracker. Let's pull it up here. All right. My man Bouknight. My man Bouknight has played, let's say in the last game, we saw him with 28 minutes. No way, that ain't right. 0 for 8 from the field, 0 for 3 from behind the arc. I don't think I realized that. Literally with 1 point. And so I'm not ready to be like, man, they got to give up on James Bouknight. It's over for him. Nah, I'm not quite ready to do that yet. But I think that there's two things at hand here, right? Either you can look at the play of James Bouknight currently and you'd say to yourself, maybe he is not who we thought he was. Or you say to yourself, being out an entire year hurt his development in some way, right? Not playing that season or going to the G League and not having those minutes has slowed his ability to like really get it going in the league currently, right? So it maybe is just a time thing. And I think that I could see that being the case because I feel like that's also a similar situation to what I think of when I see the LiAngelo Ball situation, right? You got LiAngelo LiAngelo and Bouknight had the same amount of points last night, and one of them played 28 minutes and one of them played 0 minutes. Or no, they didn't. James had 1 point. My bad. He scored 1 more point than it. But let's see. Minus 14. Yeah, that's all bad. I don't know. And you think about this where you see a guy like Kai Jones who seemed like he was held in just as much revere last year as Bouknight. And he got a DNP. I was never high on Bouknight. I think there's something also that I realized at the game, right? One of the things that when you go to an NBA game and you sit like closer, you realize the size of the players, right? You realize who has the body of a professional athlete. You see that a little bit more. And James Bouknight just seems so small compared to everybody else out there. I think the two guys, just from a physical stature standpoint, who seem like they just were out of place a bit, were Bouknight and Crutcher. And obviously they two small guards, but they just seem like relatively small compared to everybody else. Bouknight needs, let me see. I need to take that one thing off. Oh, shout out to my man Ball Facts for sliding through here. I was hoping my man Ball Facts was gonna be at that last game so we could have linked up and all that. Book lost some confidence, dude. Let me see. AB looked like Book lost some confidence due to how they treated him last year, but I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. I think that's definitely one way to look at it, right? It's just hard for me because oftentimes when you get the new coach, right, and the new coach speaks life into you, and he telling you, you know what, we're gonna make sure you get the minutes, you're gonna play, and then you actually start getting that opportunity to play. We saw Bouknight get some solid minutes down there in the G League and do some of the scoring. One of the things that I heard Steve Clifford say at the beginning during like one of the press conferences is that they had was folks are not able to just dribble past people like they think they are. Right, there's has to be some more movement. They got to get more into the flow of the offense. They got to push the pace. Let me fix this real quick. They got to do a lot of that stuff, and I think that a lot of folks didn't realize that right now. And I feel like Bouknight might be in that situation where I'll get rid of that. Bouknight might be in that situation where he needs some time. He just gotta the off the dribble trying to get to the it ain't cutting through like he might have thought it was. And so I do, when it comes to development though, to me that's one of those things where if you don't play last season in the NBA, you don't realize that you spend most of your time thinking like, yo, when I get my shot, I'm gonna get him that same crossover that I gave them dudes in college. When I get my shot, what I'm cooking these dudes up in the G League right now, that's what I'm gonna get these dudes on this next level. And then once you get into the league, that's year 2, and you realize, wait a minute, I should have been working on something else. I should have took my game a different way. I should have, and you really, you know what I mean, make a mistake there. I pinned it. All right. Man, Pope say that's right. Book a featherweight. He a small dude, man. He a small dude. Develop big time. He's still moving like a college player, and that's what I was saying. And I think that that's the thing that you get from just repetition, right? One of the things that I have feel like I've been saying this for a long time when it comes to LiAngelo Ball is the thing that he is missing compared to a lot of other guys is just like actual game experience, right? I think that the talent level is there. If you say, yo, can he hoop? I think it's there, but I think like what you see, same thing from Bouknight being a little gun shy based on the way that he was being treated. I think you see that with LiAngelo Ball, right? You're looking at a guy who realizes that once he gets in the game, oftentimes it's due to this like massive swell of chance for him to play, and then he comes in there and they're like, all right, perform right now. You miss a shot, everybody in the arena is reacting to it. If you open and they don't pass you the ball, everybody in the arena is reacting to it. If you were semi-open, it looked like you might, they reacting to it. So it's just a lot of pressure I feel like he under when you watch that stuff live. Let me see. Let's see. Bouknight looks like he always just wants an ISO or pass the ball as soon as he gets it, as if he can't get a shot off instead of trying to create shots for his teammates. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a tough situation for him, right? Because I think that when you go back, and if we could, I would pull it up, man. I might even just do it. If we go back and watch a lot of the stuff that he got from, or the highlights he had in college, a lot of that was that. It was ISOs. You have a lot of players who hella successful like that in the NBA, where what they do best is take you off the dribble, go to work and score, right? You look at the Kyrie Irvings of the world. I remember even you think about, and if some folks have developed their game, but I remember Chris Paul, right? Some of the knocks that a lot of his teammates had for him was he was the type of dude who would dribble it, try to make something happen, and then last second try to get you to pass off. So it's either he about to score that thing or it's an assist. Let me see, man. I think I just saw my man FYF in the building. Slim can't hoop. LiAngelo isn't better than Bouknight. Y'all need to stop with the delusion. Somebody said that. Let me see. Where's that coming? already better than Book first summer league. Was already better than Book first summer league. I see what you're saying. You making the distinction of in that first summer league when he was hooping. He did have a damn good introductory game. Even his first game into the G League was damn good games. And those games where you know what I mean, I feel like they opened it up with, bro, go ahead and do something. You never had to begin. Never had it to begin with. I told y'all this in his summer league he played. Bouknight looks like he don't know what to do and needs to run, but the coach don't know how to run the young dudes. Wants ice on. Yeah, I think it's interesting, man. I mentioned this in a video I did earlier, where one of the things that I definitely saw in the game or heard in the game was the coaching staff reminding those guys to push the pace, run. And I think that this is why they give, what's his name, Mason Plumlee, a pass to just bring the ball up the court at times, is because they're trying to be so fast. And so I think that they've given him the green light to, if you get it and you can push it up, then do that. But I think that it's so funny because when I'm watching LaMelo get the ball at times, this is I saw this a few times where LaMelo would have it, start to dribble it up, and they would be screaming fast, push it, and he would just kick it up. You know what I mean? And you never really got that from the Plumlee situation. So I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. Let's see. All right. So what will Jello do if he gets waived? Is he able to go back to the Swarm, or do he have to wait a while? No. I think that if he gets waived, he definitely will probably join the Swarm team. And what I would imagine, I imagine that if LiAngelo goes to the Swarm, this is year. If LiAngelo go down to the Swarm this year, it's his year. It's up and it's stuck for him if he go to the Swarm this year. If he go to the, all right, let me see. If he go to the Swarm this year, it's up and it's stuck for him. I think that if he go there this year after signing this contract, not guaranteed, being in training camp with the squad, he definitely is going to be a starter on that Swarm team. Has to happen. I think that what I watched, I'm telling you this, in that last game, it started out when Jello got in there as the typical LiAngelo Ball sequence that we've seen, right? Most of these guys, he just was running to his spot and they were running the offense, and for some reason, no matter which side he stood on, the offense went the other way. It was never swinging around, right? Before he got in there, pass, all of that stuff. When he got in the game, every time the offense went that way, bad shots, people falling away, taking crazy shots to not get the ball over there. Something happened. Everybody came to the bench, and the next 3 plays, LiAngelo came across, got the ball at the on the wing, and then you saw him do the move where he took a dribble, kicked it to the corner, and my man, he that's when he got fouled initially, went to the free throw line, made one, missed one, got it again, got an assist, got it again, and was doing some other stuff. We saw a lot of that from him. So I think that from that alone, it seemed like somebody had made the call, yo, let's get him some touches. Let's see what he got. Let's see him work it and not just simply be a shooter. Let's see if he could do the playmaking and all that stuff. And I will say this, and I know this is going to throw some people off in the chat right now, but now I think some of that Drew League action showed up in that last game. running the point in that Drew League. Go back and watch them last couple clips when they said, "Hey, come get the ball and let's run the action with you." And he got the dribbling kick, the dribbling. I think that a lot of that Drew League stuff, yo, show us what you show. I don't know. It looked good. All right, let me see. We got everyone knows Jello compliments LaMelo better than Bouknight. That's a fact. I said this a couple times where I'm hearing them talk about the pace. Faster. We want to play faster. And then I hear in this last press conference, I might try to pull it up from LaMelo, where he talks about it was a Celtics team who was not a fully loaded Celtics team like they played the first time. And folks said, man, y'all look better versus this. And he said, well, now everybody know where they're going and what they got to do. That's still, to me, a little bit debatable. But what I can tell you is when you're watching Jello play, no matter what, and that's the thing that sucks when you're looking out there and they're running the offense away from him, he's always getting to his spots. He knows where he's going. You know where he running to. He running to the wing. He's scooting down to the corner. He out on the break every time. The ball come off, and I'm telling you, everybody in the arena, every time there was a rebound, started holding their breath, gasping for air because my man was out, and they was like, get in the ball. He open. And they would never do it. They never did it. Let's see. Channel Lester, no way LiAngelo is nervous. He's been a pro for 3 years now and has played in front of big crowds his entire career. Being nervous is no longer an excuse. I can't give you that. There's a way that you can still be nervous. You could play in front of big crowds. You've been a pro, but you never played for the Hornets. You never played in a actual like NBA style game. And I will tell you that the crowd the other night was not that big. It's a difference between playing. Now he done played in some hostile situations. I don't watch them play in Moscow, Russia, and St. Petersburg, Russia, and thousands of people in there. You know what I mean? And it's tight in them gyms in Macedonia. So you're right. He do have some experience with that, but it's also not the Boston Garden, right? It's also not the history of that stuff. I done seen him play in places where they heating up batteries and throwing them. But you know what I mean? You still have room to have nervous butterflies and all of that stuff. And especially when you are playing in the first time you touch the court is in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left to go. And you're cold. You ain't took a shot, and since halftime, you ain't stood up on the bench since halftime. All that stuff, man. You're just not in a prime, optimal athletic situation. So I can see all that. Let me see. Ball facts. If that's a combination actually works, then why haven't any coach tried it on the pros? I don't. Yeah. Great question. I think it's hard to see. All right, let me see. We got my man FYF in the building. I'm going to add him here. Damn it, I forgot. Let me try this. I forgot my AirPods somewhere, man. So there we go. Let me try these. Got these cheap Delta earphones. Hello, FYF, can you hear me? Hello? You're on mute. All right, let's see. All right, hello. me see. Hello? Hello. I can't hear you. Let me see if my audio on right. Nope, it's not. Yeah, there you go. I hear something. Hello? Yeah, I can hear you now. Let me see. Is the system audio on? All right. Might be me, man.
Man, what you been up to?
Man, just you know what I'm saying, living the dream, man.
Okay.
Trying to be tapped in with this preseason.
So when I said he can't be nervous, or I don't think he's nervous, that's one of the things that, like, if being nervous is the excuse that you want to give him, then that's what separates the great role players and the bench guys in the NBA from the others. I mean, when you look at some of the greatest guys that come off the bench of all time, you think of Robert Horry and some of them NBA finals, sitting out the whole series, coming in only the fourth quarter, late game, and he's relying on to make big shots.
Yeah,
like that's your job. You know, there's, you know, everybody has a role in the league, and it's going to be some guy's role, and it's going to be expected of you to come off that bench, flaming hot, be ready to go 50% from the 3-point line, 40% from the 3-point line with cold. That's your job.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, again, nervous. Yeah, I understand it's an opportunity, nerves and all that, but you got to show people that you can thrive under pressure, especially on the Charlotte Hornet team where injuries happen all the time and your number might get called at any minute. Right? They've been in a position for the last couple of years where they've had to play unorthodox lineups because of injuries and things like that. So they're not gonna have time to use the injury excuse or the nervous excuse. They need guys that's ready to go. That's the only thing I was saying.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something you got to go work on, you know, but you got to go figure it out. That's something you got to figure out.
Yeah, and I agree with you, right? I do think that that's something that you got to put together. I think that what's tough for him though, or I think in the comparison of, like, you think about the Robert Horrys and the guys who have established themselves as guys who can come off the bench in those critical times. I remember I listened to this thing where Pat Beverly was giving props to, I think it was Tyronn Lue. And he was like, yo, Tyronn Lue gonna play the best players. And he talked about not playing the whole series. And then when it came to crunch time and they needed him, his number got called and he had to be available to go to work. And so I think I just think that that's something that you develop over the course of your career. If you told me that there was a kid who just came off the G League, this is first summer or preseason with a team getting significant minutes, and he had some nerves, I'd be like, okay, I hear you. I could understand that, and that's what I'm saying. I think that that's where Jello is at the moment.
I mean, again, when we looking at preseason, we see a ton of young guys who ain't never touched the NBA floor in their life pushing for a spot. I mean, when you look at, like, when I saw them play the Celtics and I saw J.D. Davis, a guy that could get cut at any time, show up and is playing like he belongs. When he don't look nervous. When I look at the 36ers play and I see Franks and I see Craig Randall out there balling, making the most of their opportunity in limited games. They only get 1 or 2 games in the preseason. Not, they making the most. They balling. I mean, when I see guys out there that ain't never touched the NBA court, ain't never.
Yeah.
To make the most of everything you got going in practice so you can get rotational minutes. It's time when you get on the court, show you can do more than just chuck threes, because I'm telling you right now, it don't matter if he went 4-4 from the 3-point line or 0-for-4. They all know he can shoot. Like, there's no secret. The reason why Gelo's not in the league is because of the other intangibles. Can he defend his position? Right? Can he play make? Those are the things. When is he going to show that? Because shooting alone is not going to get him into the league where his size. There's plenty of guys they can get if they just want to get. It's better shooters. If we're being honest, it's better shooters out there that they could just go snatch if they just wanted to go get a shooter. He got to show all the other intangibles, and he hasn't shown them. I don't believe he's shown anything other than just chucking up shots. So,
I agree, and I feel like, so to me, right, I think that there is a semi difference between I think that there's a lot of conversation around what's happening with LiAngelo, and I think that what I'm saying is that if you said he's nervous, I'd be like, okay, I could see that. What I say, bro, it's okay that you're nervous, I'd be like, bro, you got to get through it, and you got to like get on the other end of that. You know what I'm saying? What you're saying is exactly what I feel like I've been saying, that is going to be a hard road for him for, like, especially these next couple of years of his career, is the thing that it comes across as his job is to come in on these limited minutes, and he's been just standing in the corner and then chucking up shots, right? Finding they run a play from me, come off a screen, and he got to hit a three. This last game, though, was the first time that I have seen them call a play for him to facilitate anything. And it was like the last minute or so, they ran the same play with him 2 or 3 times in a row. And I was like, okay, now they starting to make it work or whatever. Now they're trying to see where he at, what he got going. So I was excited about that. But I'm saying I agree with you. I think that it's not if you're going to make it and you're going to be who everybody think you could be, like, you can't, nervous ain't a thing. You know what I'm saying? You got to like learn the intangibles and make it that way. Here's one I want to ask you about, because this is something that I saw the conversation people had about him. One of the things that I think that he needs to do is I watched the game and they just be sitting, and maybe it's the Hornets in general. When things are happening, they literally are just sitting on the bench like they don't care. You know what I mean? And I want to see him stand up and at least be the crowd love him. At least be the dude who hyping the squad up. You know what I mean? Like, even if you can't necessarily, look at Udonis Haslem. He's been in the Heat for a minute just because of his role in the locker room and all of that stuff. I at least want to see you go ahead and do that. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's like you said, that's a role on the team. Being a leader on the bench, that's a role. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to one of the D1 coaches down here at GCU, and he was telling me about walk-ons. And he was like, yeah, we brought in a few guys, but he said all the walk-ons came in, and the guys that we was looking at, he said they came in our office for saying the wrong thing. He said these guys talking about they want to come in, play themselves into the rotation, do all that stuff, and they like, hold on, if you a walk-on, your role is completely different. You're not supposed to come in with the expectation of playing 20, 30 minutes or breaking a rotation, because those are the guys that's going to sit on the end of the bench. They're going to start moping when they're not getting time, or if they think they can outperform the starters, and they're not going to be, giving anything positive to the team. They're just going to start to be toxic. And so it's about when is he going to separate himself doing the small things, the intangibles. Loudest one on the bench, talking in the huddle, motivating guys, being the first to run out when a timeout is being called. I mean, obviously it looks kind of cheesy and corny, but cheesy and corny kept a lot of guys in the league.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's about finding something that's going to give you a little niche so you get staying power in the league, and then you can figure everything else out from there. Yeah. But I mean, based on the contract that he signed, I believe that he's not going to return to the Swarm. I don't believe he is.
Like you think in what context? Like you think he's going to stay with the Hornets, or you think he like
No,
that's the end of his
I
run?
I believe he did so. There's two types of training camp deals you can sign. So you can sign an Exhibit 10, which is one everybody knows. So the benefit of an Exhibit 10 is if you do get cut, as long as you stay with the G League affiliate for 60 days, you get a $50,000 bonus.
Yep.
And you get injury protection. So if you get hurt during preseason, you protected. There's liability there. The team has to cover your injuries and whatnot. LiAngelo signed what is called an Exhibit 9. An Exhibit 9 contract is called a limited liability contract. This means that if he gets hurt, the Charlotte Hornets are not even liable to pay for his injuries. They only have to pay him $6,000. He can tear an ACL tomorrow, and the Charlotte Hornets will give him $6,000 and send him on his way. It's called a limited liability contract, and it also is not convertible to a two-way. So they can't convert it to a two-way, unlike an Exhibit 10. The NBA uses these deals to limit their liability. Because if you think last year, I think the Clippers got screwed because they brought in a guy named like Malik something. They messed around and it didn't sign him to an Exhibit 9. He got hurt. They had to carry him on the roster all the way through January, and then they had to negotiate a deal with him just to get out the contract. So they gave him basically the worst training camp possible deal you can actually have, because I don't know, it's all on him. It's either roster or bust. And so either the Charlotte Hornets basically said to him, you can push to make a spot on the roster, but we're going to look to move another direction with our G League team. Or he told them, and him and his team said, look, we don't want to do G League anymore. We're going to try to push to make the roster. If we don't make it, then we're going to look another direction. That's the only two things that happened there, because he did not sign an Exhibit 10. You look, Snead just came in and signed an Exhibit 10. So you know they had him available. He came in just like that and signed one. So
yeah.
I mean,
and you know what, man? I want to thank you for that breakdown, because I was just looking at something recently, and I was looking at the comparison between the 10 and the contract he signed previously, and I was thinking this. I was like, bro, this don't sound good. Like, I think at first I was hyped because I saw it was a difference, but he signed a 10 at one point. Now he was on the 9, and I was thinking to myself, like, okay, like, they got him on a different contract. Like, this is a good thing. And then as the more and more I read about it, I was like, wait a minute, man, this shit something sound fishy with this one.
The only types of players that sign Exhibit 9s is usually vets, like Cody Zeller with Utah signed one. But he's a vet where he knows. And then teams can also change the clauses in the Exhibit 9. So a vet can come in and negotiate his Exhibit 9 deal and be like, okay, I'll sign the Exhibit 9 deal. I don't want any connections to your two-way affiliate. If I get injured, you'll cover it up to a certain amount. You can negotiate certain aspects of it, but if you negotiate certain aspects of it, you can't not disclose the deals publicly. But so based on the fact that when he got signed, they said we're not disclosing the deals or the details of the contract, tells me right there they didn't make any modifications to the clauses, and he signed a pure Exhibit 9 deal, which is the lowest form of a contract you can have, because Charlotte Hornets have no liability, really no connection, no responsibility if he gets hurt. So if they really wanted him, why would they put him under that type of deal? You know, that's like the lowest of the low. So that's Charlotte. I don't think Charlotte's the place for him, but they are giving him. I mean, they are trying to give him a shot. But just as we saw last night, with Dennis Smith potentially hurt or out, not sure what's going on there. I know he had a child. They still need a backup point. I mean, from what I heard, Dwayne Bacon just got released. I know that Clifford loves Bacon from his previous time in Charlotte. But I'm hearing Bacon might be on his way to Charlotte as well. I don't know what they're gonna do, but it just don't look good. That contract is probably the worst deal. He shouldn't have never signed that type of deal.
Hey, so do you think that this is like a representation error, or is this just like that's the only like deal that was available error?
No, when I first saw it, the first thing that popped in my mind was that Jello's team went to Charlotte saying, "Can we get a spot?" Obviously, you guys have 19 players. If Miles isn't able to come back, because remember they signed Jello as soon as Bridges' hearing got pushed back.
Yep.
And they signed Jello, so it's like, okay, we know he can't come to fill the 20th spot, so let's bring Jello. But they basically said, okay, well, if we bring him in, we don't want no liability, right? Because obviously we brought 4 other guys in under full Exhibit 10s.
Yeah,
those are the guys we're looking at. If you want him to come, then he's gonna have to come under our terms, which is gonna be Exhibit 9. And unfortunately, but I mean that's what it looks like. And it could be 100% different than what I'm saying. I'm just taking a guess, but that's the only thing that makes sense when you start putting the pieces together.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, and I appreciate the different perspective on it, because I feel like, to me, and this is my thing with it, I appreciate the different steps that he's taken, you know what I mean, every year, right? So at this year, first time he actually in the training camp, you know what I mean? And I think that when you just look at a lot of it on the surface, it's easy to get excited about some things, but it's also like they say a game within a game, and there's the business aspects of it. And I know that most of the time that we've talked about it, you've mentioned like the investment in players, right? And guys who they invest in are people who typically get the opportunities, you know what I'm saying? And so in my head, when I saw this, I'm thinking about when you said that, and I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I wish I should try to pull up this article. Somebody, I found it on the internet where they talked about, they were breaking down that Exhibit 9 contract or whatnot. And a lot of that was, let me see, my man slipped off here for a second. A lot of what I found on the internet about that contract was let me pull this up so we can take a look at this deal. Ball exclusives. A lot of it was, I was like, damn, the money looked good. It looked like they invested in him from a money standpoint. So maybe we on to something. Obviously, I knew that it was not guaranteed and all of that stuff, but I still was like, wait a minute, this might be a good sign. All right, let me show you. Let me pull up here. All right, have y'all saw this website? This is Ball Exclusives. This actually is a website where, excuse. All right. This is actually a website from, if you remember the JBA, one of the guys who are doing the broadcast with me. This was he created this website recently. Let me see if I could. Let's look at LiAngelo. Brandon has the art. Yeah, let me see this. Let me get down. Man, I got to catch up on the chat. Boy, y'all done blown up the chat, man. I'm behind. Let me see. I see something here, but somebody say we got to stop thinking the only money is we need to stop thinking that the only money is NBA contract. The real money is in your own brand, and he has it already. I agree with that, right? But I think that the conversation is, it's not about the money you have or the money that they're paying. It's not the money that you're receiving. It's the money that they invested in you that matters. So it's like I've been watching people kill what's his name, Russell Westbrook lately, right? And not Russell Westbrook, the quarterback, Russell Wilson. He just signed a $250 million deal. So you signed a $250 million deal. You're the starting quarterback, right? You're going to play. And what we need from you is to play good. We paid you all this money. You got to play good, because we'll look stupid if we give you that money and you don't play. So I think that's where the conversation is when it comes to how much money you're making. Because if we paying you, look at Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward making $30 million right now for this on this Hornets team. I'm gonna pull that up too. Let me find this first here. Gordon Hayward making $30 million on this Hornets team. Contract explanation. Here we go. This was I read this article recently, but let me pull this other thing up too. You got Gordon. What's the best way to find that here? This is pretty lie. You got Gordon Hayward, who is making a big chunk of change, and he is, no matter what, they gonna always say he the best player simply because of the money. So here's what I'm saying. We're looking here. This year alone, Gordon Hayward ain't played in 2 years, and he about to make $30 million. So last year, when we hearing Mitch Kupchak say, yo, he our best player, you could tell he the best player because we paying him the most. James Bouknight, he's struggling right now, but we invested $4 million in him. He gotta play. We need him. Cody Martin, we gave him $7 million. He gonna get on the court. You go down here, you look at, let's see who didn't play in that last game. Kai Jones. Kai Jones, yeah, I mean, that's a decent, $2-3 million there. But that's what I mean. That's where that stuff matters. So let's go into here and we'll look at this contract extension. Let me pull this back. Hey, if you want to join, hit the link. Obviously you can join. The StreamYard link is pinned, so you can join it. All right. So what is an Exhibit 9 contract? And I was going to make a video about this here, but we might as well do it here. What is an Exhibit 9 contract? An Exhibit 9 is a non-guaranteed camp deal that allows teams to fill up roster spots up to 20 players through the preseason. Contracts don't count against cap during the preseason and offer teams some protection in the event of an injury. Normally, a team is responsible for an injured player's salary for the current season or until he recovers. All right. And this is where I was saying, I was reading this article, and this is the part I was like, wait a minute, something ain't right. But in my interpretation, I'll explain my interpretation after we see this. But first things first, if you ain't here, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the like button. We've got 90 people in here watching, 28 likes. Please hit the like button. You know what they say, your favorite YouTuber say this, it helps with the algorithm. Let's see. An Exhibit 10 camp contract is similar to Exhibit 9. Exhibit 10s allow the franchise to convert eligible players specifically on non-guaranteed 1-year minimum to a 2-way contract. Additionally, Exhibit 10s allow for a bonus worth up to $50K if a player is waived and then spends at least 60 days with the team's G League affiliate. So obviously you see the different language in here, where this one says this allows us to fill up our roster for camp, but this one here allows us to, you know what I mean? There's some concessions and things built in that make the movement to the G League a little bit similar, smoother, right? The 2-way contract option is in there. If you go to the G League, you get $50K if you stay there for up to 60 days. Some of this stuff here is not there, but what I was looking at, and I was like, all right, man, maybe this is a big deal here, or maybe this is something to be celebrated even more, is because we get into this part here where it say the contract amount. So previously stated, LiAngelo signed a non-guaranteed Exhibit 9 deal. The deal is 1 year, $1 million minimum contract. So when I'm seeing the $1 million on the minimum contract, I'm like, all right. Okay, now we hitting the $1 million mark. I don't think that most people would have thought like, yo, this Exhibit 9 contract is paying out the big bucks like that. However, we look here and we saying like, you know, there's all right, we got my man Ball Facts in the building. Let me see. Hello.
What's good, AB?
What's good? Ball Facts in the building. What's happening, my guy?
Not much, man. Appreciate you going live, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I appreciate you joining, my guy. I appreciate you joining.
You know it's all love. I gotta show respect to the legend. You know what I'm saying? AB the hero himself.
Hey, yeah, I love it. You're gonna make me cry, man. Don't do that on here because I wanna. Nah, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. You the living legend, you know what I'm saying, in the streets, man. Taking over the scene, man. I love to see it.
Hey man, appreciate it. You know, we've spoken in a lot of times, got a relationship. I would have liked to come out to that game with you, but I'm locked in so crazy right now. But we gonna definitely plan something and do a vlog, you know what I mean? Take a little trip and make history.
Yeah, facts, man. We gotta do that. I'm down, man. I think I was scouting that game out, man. It was really last minute. I was hoping to catch Melo and Jello. I felt like you going to Charlotte, you might as well do that in front of the home crowd. So I thought that was a game to go catch. So I like booked it out there last minute, but I'm down, man, to catch a game during the season or something. We can set it off, do some BTS vlogging.
Yeah, that sounds fire. Yeah, man. I really tapped in because like I made a video about Melo. I don't know, like a couple months ago, and I just basically said how he continues to rise no matter what. When he was in the NBL, Aaron Brooks got hurt, then Graham went down, Hayward went down, Miles, you know, had his unfortunate circumstance, and basically LaMelo was left standing like, well, who else we got? And it was like, I mean, like, just get out the way, because you can see ain't nothing stopping this young man. He got the skill, and whatever y'all put in front of him, for whatever reason, is just falling. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now I'm looking to see Jello, and I'm like, wow, Cody Martin out, Hayward out again, Dennis Smith Jr. out. You guys have no excuse not to play him. Did you see the Celtics tried to sit every one of their starters, and Brown said he wanted to play? But this is the preseason. This is where you want to see the guys that are not locked into the spot come out and show what they can do. So I just find it odd, and I find it unfair. Of course, life isn't fair, right? That's nothing to cry about, but it's a fact. It ain't fair. You know what I mean? I find it funny that they want to judge Jello off of 4 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and pressure is what it is. You know, if we just looked at Bouknight's minutes, 30 minutes, and he only hit one free throw. Jello plays 6 minutes, hits one free throw, and he's the worst player in the world. You know what I mean? Like, the double standard is so crazy. We've seen LaMelo go on stretches for 6 minutes and not hit anything. We've seen other people go on stretches for 10 minutes and not do anything. But somehow Jello is just not ready. And then this narrative that all he can shoot, man, I do not agree with that, because what he does, he picks up the pace. We've seen Jello stop a Scotty Barnes in the summer league. We've seen the coaches talk about his rebounding ability. We know Jello can pass it as well. Maybe not as good as his brothers, but damn near close enough. He can do the long ball. He can hit the person that's cutting. He has a IQ. A lot of times people want Jello to move, and Jello like, there's no reason for me to move right now. Just give me the ball. So I find the assessment to be somewhat like, just, of course people say, yeah, you biased, but I'm like, man, just forget who I am, but look at it. Just put any player in that situation, you would say they're not getting a fair shot. And no other team took Jello. I understand that, so that's fine. That they took a chance on him just because of LaMelo. But this is what I will say: if Jello came to the open gyms and was complete trash, I mean, couldn't keep up, couldn't do anything, he would not be there. Yeah. When Mitch came out with that press conference and said, yeah, he was a D1 athlete, they seen what Jello could do and they were impressed. It wasn't like he looked like he was out of the loop. But I will say he also played those scrimmages with LaMelo. See what I'm saying? So then they come to the real game and they're like, well, where's that player at? You know, I hate this narrative that he's only good with his brother. No, he could be good with anybody that has vision, anybody who's ready to push the pace. Just so happened he happened to grow up with two of the best transitional passers, you know, in the league. That just so happened to be. So could Jello be a little bit spoiled, used to playing with great point guards? Yeah, you know what I mean. That's fair, but I don't agree with the assessment that let's say he was only good with his brother. Even though I don't believe that. If he was only good with his brother, let's put winning first. Put him in the game. Put him with his brother. Do it. You know, everything else is asinine. And right now is the perfect time to do it. No one would look at them crazy. No one would look at this organization and say, oh, this is just so much, favoritism that y'all letting Jello play. No, everybody's getting hurt. It's the preseason. This is the perfect time. So I feel like they just like fighting against the inevitable and they have the opportunity and they not pulling the trigger. Give the guy, if you're going to only give him 5 minutes, let those 5 minutes be with Melo. If you're going to give him 10 minutes, okay, he don't need to be with Melo. Let him do 10 minutes on his own. You know, but these microwave size games, you're down 30, nobody's shooting good, turnovers are horrendous, chemistry is off, and everybody comes away from the game looking at Jello like he missed the shots. So just like, I get, hate is hate. I get it. But when you just look at basketball, forget the names, for just look at the stat sheet, it speaks for itself. So it's a lot of cap out here about Jello, and it's trash to me.
Yeah, man, I will tell you, I agree with you, right? And I think from my perspective, like, I think the commentary that I hear about Jello felt different than what his situation felt like in the building that day. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I think the team as a whole, obviously, they have some apparent chemistry issues where the team just feel like they just happy to be in the NBA and they just on the bench and everybody too cool. But like, there was these moments where the fans, by the third quarter, the end of the third quarter, they being blown out, and then everybody started cheering, Jello, we want Jello, right? And I'm watching, I'll be on the body language. I'm watching the body language from the staff, and it wasn't like, oh, here we go again. It was everybody kept it cool, and then once it happened about maybe 2 or 3 times, and then they started subbing people in, and they made the call for him to run in, and legitimately the arena was excited for him to be in the game, right? And what I noticed is he got in there and they were not giving him the ball. And I think that part of his downfall probably is what you talked about, is growing up and playing with these generational point guards and them being able to find you. All you got to do is run, get to the spot, and they gonna get you the ball. And they were not doing that. They would not throw him the ball. They were looking the other way. Legitimately, the offense was running the opposite way, and the tension in the building was tight. Like the arena was saying, "Damn, pass him the ball." Like, people were like legitimately like upset. I'm telling you, this is how big of a deal it was. When you sit in there, the staff who sit down on the court side and block the seats so you can't keep going, they sit with their back to the game. They can't watch the game. Me and my homeboy who was there with me, he was like, damn, that sucks. Like, you so close. You got the best seats in the house and your back is turned. You can't even watch. When Jello got in, even the staff was breaking their neck to see what was going on, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's how much you could feel it in the building. It's like, it felt like something monumental was happening behind you. And they somehow, I can't remember what it was, timeout, out of bounds, foul, whatever. They brought a whole team to the bench, and the next couple of plays, they ran the plays for Jello, right? And it wasn't just get in the corner and shoot. It was run the offense, bro, make something happen. And I felt like he had a couple things that looked really good to me in that moment. And so I say that to say, like, I think the the outside world watch it from a distance and feel like it was some hate, but in the you would be crazy to have been in that building and seen what I seen and then come away from that and be like, but man, we got to get rid of him. We got to cut him. He only made 1 point that night. You know what I mean? Especially on the same night where Bouknight played 30 minutes and gave you 4. Like you would have missed a ton if you came away with that. So I'm hoping that the organization saw something more than, like, you know what I mean, what the haters or what the, you know what I mean, casual fans saw.
I hear that, and I would say to the Hornets is like, y'all seen what happened when y'all tried to delay LaMelo. I mean, tons of people started going down, and I don't mean to sound crazy or nothing like that, but it's something bigger playing with this. This is it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to go down like this. I just cannot see that Lavar wasted all these. It would be a waste of all these years of creating these players that complement each other so well, and then they be this close to playing together, and it don't happen. Like, I just don't see it like that. And bro, when I was watching it, I could feel the stadium. I knew everybody was like, yes, let's put Jello in. That's why I wasn't surprised when eventually they said Jello. I mean, I felt bad because I made a video and I said I could tell you that LiAngelo was rushing. But can I really blame him? You only got 5 minutes and you don't know when the next time you're getting the ball. Facts. When you get it, it's easy to say don't rush, but the time is winding down. Every shot that you get is like a buzzer beater. And if it was a buzzer beater, they wouldn't be like, oh, he's not like that. But every shot he take like a buzzer beater because he don't know when he's gonna get pulled. I mean, you cold sitting on the bench. It's easier to be in a situation where they're like, we're gonna give you 30 minutes tonight. You let the game come to you. You ain't got to worry about nothing. But you getting in at 5 minutes, and of course the other team is like, don't let that ball brother score. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole lot stacked against you for people to be like, he should be ready for this moment and blah blah blah. Man, I've seen so many players that if they would just have the same opportunity that LiAngelo is having, would do worse. So, you know what I'm saying? I see a player that just still needs a little bit more fair treatment. If you treat him like everybody else on the team, I'm not saying give him no preferential treatment, just treat him like everybody else. Dennis Smith Jr. got the same non-guaranteed contract. And you would think like, okay, they would get the same amount of minutes. But no, he gets more than Jello. Next game, he can't come for an emergency. I hope everything turns out right. I'm not sure what's going on. But he don't get none this game. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah, bro. I think it's that. I'm gonna look up this Dennis Smith contract because that's interesting if he got the same joint, because I think people overlooking. Yeah, Exhibit 9 minimum. See, this is what I'm saying. This is another. I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's a big thing that can't be overlooked. It's this. You're right. Let me pull it up here. Let me slide over here. It's the same. They got him here. Exhibit 9 contract, the same one that felt like man, something ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, are they not invested in him contract? And this is the same thing that we're seeing from Dennis Smith Jr. I got it on the screen. His is a little bit more because he's been in the league longer. $2 million, 1 year, Exhibit 9, vet minimum. But I think that when people look at Dennis Smith Jr., they don't think of, and the man ain't played. He been dealing with some stuff and whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? I hope it all play itself out. But he ain't even played. He not even available. You know what I mean? They say the best ability most of the time is availability. And so I don't hear the same like, oh, he finna be in trouble because he's not going to make the team. People assume like, yo, he still got him a spot and he going to be okay. So I don't know, man. I think you just gave me, I think FYF in his talk, like, maybe question some things. And I feel like you just gave me some hope. Another ounce of hope.
I came to bring the fact, my boy. Yeah. That's why I came up on here. That's, you know, like, I'm cool with FIF, everything's cool and stuff like that, but I'm like, man, it's a whole lot of facts missing out this conversation.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. That's because you're right. That definitely is a fact that can't be overlooked. Is they literally on the same contract, and one of the things is I assume I don't expect Dennis Smith Jr. to go play in the G League for the Charlotte Hornets, right? When you sign Xavier Sneed to a 10 exhibit 10, I expect to see him go play. I don't think you know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting him to make the roster and play significant minutes for the Hornets at all. I'm expecting him to go play in the G League. And so my expectations for Jello joining camp were for him to join the Hornets roster throughout the season. I think it's going to be, do I think he initially going to be in the rotation and all that right away? I don't know. But I was expecting him to make the roster. And I feel like this, to me, gives more credence to that expectation that I had. And I'm sorry, yeah, I'm glad you brought those ball facts in the building, man. People in the comments said you was cooking as well, man. So that's...
Yeah, and I see Marcel Marshall says the bias is a bit much here. Is there no room for any objectivity? Yeah, there is, and you probably miss FYF was here and he came with a different perspective, and now we just coming with something different.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I feel like people always miss in these conversations, right? Where they go with this like notion of like, oh, is some bias happening? And literally a lot of times we're just exploring the options. So it's just like I was telling FYF when folks say Jello might be nervous, and he was explaining like, oh, you know, we can't give him that pass. And I'm like, that's not necessarily a pass, more so than that just might actually be reality, right? It's
right.
It's the same thing if Dennis Smith Jr. ain't played in a couple of games and we said, well, he hasn't played in some games because he's dealing with some personal issues. Folks can't be like, man, well, you can't give him a pass. He's dealing with personal. No, it's just reality. he ain't there. He at home. He doing something else, you know? So it just is what it is. You know, I people get confused between like just being real about what's happening and then like a bias, just because I think so many people so used to hate. And
oh yeah, AB, look at this. Like, we'll watch the Hornets game, right? And we'll watch Dale Curry and then the other guy who's always screaming. These people getting paid by the Hornets, right? They work for them. They know the players, and we'll listen to them all day without saying they biased. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody that knows them in a different lane that's not getting paid by them say something like, "Oh, you biased, bro? Be quiet." You look every sports, NFL, baseball, NBA. You listen to people that's getting paid by that organization to talk to those people. We sitting up here, me and you, the Ball family ain't paying us. We just up here. Look, we know them. We look at it and we speak the facts.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny that you say that is, I remember we were doing the JBA USA tour, right? And it's Facebook sponsored like the live stream. So we would have these meetings with the people from Facebook about the streams and you know, people would be in the comment section saying like, oh, these announcers, these commentators are biased. They know, you know what I mean? They're talking so much about the JBA USA squad. And so they called me in this meeting to try to like reprimand me, to tell me like I need to talk more about the other teams. And I was like, yo, we travel to every JBA USA game. You know what I'm saying? Like we were with them over the season. Like, we're not the whatever team announcers, right? And I had to break that down to them the same way the Lakers got their own. It was Chick Hearn was the name who kept coming up in our conversations during that time. And I was like, Chick Hearn was on there because he was the Lakers announcers, right? He wasn't and then they had to be like, oh, I mean, I guess you're right. And they backed off of it. And so that's and what it was is that there was a lot of hate in the and this is how I realized, man, a lot of the stuff in the comments you can't even listen to, or people and their opinions, because people at the time was trying to say in the comments that LaMelo was trash. And I'm like, yo, if y'all think LaMelo trash, then I know y'all lying. There's something else going on. You know what I mean? Like, let me see. You can't. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Let me make sure. Hold on a second. Let me get my man Ball Facts back locked in. My computer over here is slow. All right, hold on a second. I lost Ball Facts on on my StreamYard. I think we still good over here. Exit the page. I'm gonna leave. Nah, it's not you, bro. I think it's me, definitely. Oh shoot, we got somebody else back here. Jack Slammer.
Oh man, am I on the show?
Yeah, you in the show, man. I think.
What's up, dude? All right, should I turn my camera off? I'm with Ballfax and AB. Oh my god, dream come true.
In the building.
What's up, Jack?
What's up, man? Nothing. I just like hearing you guys talk. Figured just give my 2 cents. I'll turn my camera off.
All right. You don't. Yeah. All right. Cool. If you want to, that works. Let me see.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just think that with Jello, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I just think with Jello being, I don't know if you can call it benched. I just think right now McGowan's and Crutcher are probably playing for that 15th spot, but I think Jello will get the two-way.
See, I would agree, but I think that the only reason why you're seeing Crutcher on the court is because Dennis Smith Jr. is out. And I was looking at the box score for the last game just to see what the minutes distribution was. And within the first, let's say LaMelo played the first 3 quarters or so, and he played 30 minutes, played damn near the whole first half. Terry played almost the whole first half. And they just don't have the depth at the point guard position. So I think you're seeing Crutcher play more simply because of that. And once they bring in DSJ, I don't think that, and I watched them in person, I don't think that if they're banking on having Crutcher be a person who might have to play at any point during the season, it says a lot about what this Hornets team is trying to go to. And trust me, they trying to get that boy Victor if Crutcher make the squad. McGowan's is definitely somebody who is probably going to at least be on the two-way, or then
he already got the two-way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's going to be on the squad at some point. I could tell by the way that they were playing him, but I don't think that Crutcher is in the list of guys who are going to make that last spot.
All right, so as 2 guys who are like pretty close to the fold, would you think that the likely scenario is then that they upgrade McGowan's, put him to 15th, and then give the 2 ways to Jello and Crutcher?
I don't know this, but I think it's going to be still 2-way for McGowan's, and then I think Jello.
Okay, so Jello's going to get a 2-way minimum in your opinion?
Yeah, just my opinion. Now, when I look at the way they're playing him, it wouldn't seem like that. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like with Dennis Smith Jr. not being able to be there, Hayward, Cody Martin, like something's going to happen. They're going to have to play Melo and Jello together, and we're going to see something. That's how I feel.
I think, would you think, like, should we have our hopes up because preseason is preseason? Do you think that Coach Clifford, based on your guys' insider knowledge, do you think he's going to do you think he'll play the 2 together for at least 2 or 3 minutes before the preseason is over?
I would imagine so. I think that the Hornets are doing a good job of not having LiAngelo on the roster feel like a PR stunt. But it's also like I was saying, if you in the building amongst the fans, like that's something that people want to see. And it's just a missed opportunity for the culture to have LiAngelo be on the team for this whole time, especially if you're not bringing him on the season, right? If you know that he's going to the G League and won't be on the Hornets team, like in order to not have that happen at some point and not give like the culture that moment, to me it feels malicious. You know what I mean? Like that's intention. That's like a devious situation. And I don't think that's what they're gonna go with. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be if it might be the last game. It might be the third quarter. They have them both out there at the same time, and then like you never see Melo again, or like Melo never plays. You know what I mean? The game, but I can't imagine this preseason ending and those guys not being on the court together.
Yeah, now, like, despite Jello's lack of scoring, what I have seen him do is he's been playing a lot more like a team player, whereas everybody else was playing selfishly. How do you think that's going to account for their decision? Like, is that something they pay attention to, or do they want to see some numbers out of Jello in order to justify giving him a roster spot?
I believe they want to see numbers. But it's like, saying shoot with one hand tied behind your back. He's playing the right way. He only knows how to play the right way. And if he tries to play where every man for himself, then he's got to rush things. That's why I say it's unfair for these other guys that on the same contract tell him to get 11 minutes and Jello get 4 and 5 minutes, stuff like that. If let him play the right way, the way he knows, and he can produce. But if he's in a scenario where, you got to try to fight with your own teammates to get the basketball and score. I mean, some guys will say, be a dog, just do that. But they grew up playing the right way, point blank, period. They meshed together for a reason. So even to answer what AB said, I believe we got to see it at least one game, them hit the floor together. Because then the narrative is always they're going to prove everybody right. In the back of people's mind, everyone's wondering, are you guys just stringing Jello along? Are you playing games? Are you giving him a real shot? And if he goes this entire preseason with everybody being injured and them getting blown out and not playing 10 minutes, it's almost like the gig is up. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, I will say this, man. I think the numbers matter, right? If he comes in and he shot the ball in a way and like hadn't missed at all, like it would raise his stock significantly, right? However, I do think that there is these things that I remember last season when the coach for the G League, they were going into the summer league and they just drafted Bouknight and Kai Jones. And the CERN camp was saying, we've got a bunch of guys on this team who can give us 30 points a night, who like are scorers, who can go crazy if given the opportunity. And he's like, but what we want to see is the intangibles. Who can do what we asked them to do? Who can get back? Who can play defense, rebound, all of these things? And I feel like the shooting like is explainable, right? If you're an NBA player or a coach and you see a guy who's a shooter and he ain't played for let's say 3 hours, they've been in the arena and he ain't like took a shot in the last hour and a half, you know what I mean? Like I think you hopefully you would be able to wrap your mind around like, yo, all right, there's your first game, you was nervous, the last game you took one shot, you know what I mean? Like you could see that and understand that the opportunity for you to the circumstances for you were not the best, right? But in that time where you out there, were you in position? Did you get beat on the defensive end? Were you attacking? What was your motor looking like? I feel like those are the things that could secure him another opportunity, which I think that's where he is at right now. It's all about securing the next opportunity more so than it is like I'm finna light it up and go crazy right now. It's like, yo, are you going to get another chance? Are you going to get the next contract? Or somebody else going to give you a call? And if you light it up, for sure it's happening. If you don't, you got to do enough to get another call. And I think hopefully that's what he's doing.
Got it. Yeah, because from my standpoint, it looks like at the very absolute worst case scenario, he's got a spot in Greensboro.
Yeah, I would imagine that, man. But I don't know. In my head, I think he is. In my head, I feel like he's going to be on this Hornets roster. I feel like it's got to happen. This is his moment. I don't even think it's a two-way thing. I think that he at this point in the career where it's like, it just might be a body right on the end of the bench type of thing. Like, yo, I feel like he's at least there, and in those practices, maybe he can earn some more stuff. But I feel like they feel like he's a high character guy. They always saying great things about him, and so that's my thoughts. I don't even see him doing the two-way thing. I do think, like, if you go back to last year, right, they have the two-way contract, which means like you're pretty much a G League guy, but you play both sides. But then they also have guys who are assigned to the team who they assign to the G League. And I feel like he might be at least in that situation where he's assigned to the G League on a night in and night out basis, but maybe not a two-way contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then he's on, from what I read, he's on an Exhibit 9, which is probably one of the worst contracts you could possibly have. Mm-hmm. So they could cut him at any point. And like Exhibit 10, they at least have to pay you and you get a guaranteed shot at the G League. Maybe with them, they're thinking, hey, if we cut this guy, we know we can have him for the G League for nothing. But because that 15th spot is ultimately a placeholder for Miles Bridges. So it would make the most sense to keep Melo happy. You get some great PR after an abysmal offseason. You sign Jello. And then also, I completely agree, given Mitch Kupchak's lack of moves in the offseason, given that there were actually some good centers who were available, some shooters they could have got for Melo to kick it out to. I think they're clearly tanking for next season, so they might as well just sign Jello and get some decent PR.
Yeah. Man.
I want to say something to Marcel Marshall in the chat, because I seen him just say something about Seth Curry could shoot, which is different than Jello. I just remember Seth Curry was up and down in the G League. In the G League, he was getting 40 minutes a night as soon as he got there. But in the first, they had him in the NBA, giving him garbage minutes. On the Grizzlies, he was getting 4 minutes a game. He averaged 0 points. On the Warriors, he was getting 7 minutes a game. He averaged 2 points. Like, let's not try to do this double standard that if anybody plays 4 minutes, they're gonna average 5 points. Cut it out. Just let's get real. He in 2014 he was on the Suns. He 4 minutes a game, 0 points again. So just stop.
And I think too, and there's when you look at the Seth Curry story, right? It's obvious to a lot of people that the opportunities that he kept getting was because of Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? Yep. He kept moving around G League, and I feel like his first stint was with the Warriors G League squad, and that was a call from Steph, like, yo, get my brother, yo, we ain't going out like that. You know what I mean? And then once he got his foot in and started getting his bearings around the G League, he intentionally made a move to another squad in another system to earn his own keep. You know what I mean? So I think that there is some similarities here, but the difference is, to me, I think the thing that most people overlook with the LiAngelo Ball story is literally his story is the one of a 2K player. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where he's at right now should not happen. Right? You don't leave college, bounce around, and then and go undrafted without, you know what I mean? You don't end up in the Hornets camp based off of workouts over the summer. That's 2K. That's literally my court where they do the thing where you like, oh yeah, my homeboy said show up here at this time, and then you go in there and hoop, and depending on how good you do depends on whether or not you get picked up. That's what Jello did. You know what I mean? So his journey is a little bit different, and so for me, I think that I approach it with that kind of patience, understanding where he is coming from, and then what's the difference, right? There's a huge difference between being drafted to the NBA, being signed right after the draft that you didn't get picked up, and a guy like Jello who 3 years after not being drafted finds his way back into the NBA. You have to hit a couple different hurdles in order to be successful, and where he's at now, to me, is it's commendable knowing the story and the route that he took.
No, and I completely agree with you. And then one thing that I always feel bad for Jello on is everybody, if he plays great, there's always an excuse behind why he played great. But if he has a couple of poor games, people pretend like he couldn't cut it at a YMCA rec league game. When nothing could be further, nothing could be further from the truth on this guy. I mean, he's a freaking powerhouse in the post. Like, I've seen him bully people, especially during those JBA USA games. He freaking summer league debut, drops 16 points, limited minutes, shows up to the G League. First game, was it 22 or 24 points?
22 in 24 minutes.
Yeah. 22 points in limited minutes. And then everybody always pretends like anybody could do that. And it's typically from dudes. It's typically from guys who probably couldn't cut it at the local rec league, who always pretend like Jello can't play, when in every situation, he's proven he can play. So, look, he had a couple of I wouldn't even call it bad preseason showings. It was just like he got garbage time minutes and he just wasn't able to produce under those circumstances. But the guy's a hell of a player, and I'm sure he's going to sometime either in this preseason or next season, he's going to prove people wrong, but then the excuses are going to be there like they're always there.
Yeah, it's just time, man. I think like that's all I focus on with it, man, is he consistently finding himself in a new opportunity and in a better situation. And I think if you look at the trajectory from last year to this year, that path, this is a better situation for him. I remember last year they didn't even invite him to camp. Then they signed him and waived him on the same day just to get him in the G League draft. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of stuff like that happened last year that we're not going to see happen this year. And I don't know, man. I'm excited about where he's going. I just think it takes time. If he gets, I don't even want to go into the negative side of that. I just don't see it. To me, it's and it may be a bias, but I don't even think it's a bias. It's a realization, right? Like you talk about the JBA USA and the JB, and watching him go to work. I seen there are other guys who played in there who went to work. Like there's other guys. Curtis Hollis just won his second championship in the Dominican Republic. He won the championship on this team, another one, and I think the team that he was on had won the championship in 30 years. He'd been on there twice, and they won 2 back-to-back. Like, is a hooper. And he was last season went to training camp with the Golden State Warriors team and didn't get on the court at all. Yeah. And so it is a lot of folks who don't understand that. Like you look at LiAngelo and play 3-4 minutes and score 1 point and be like, he got to be trash. But then not knowing if you stand in front of him, he gonna bust it.
Oh yeah. No, people pretend like he can't play defense. He can certainly play defense. I watched all the G League games. He was able to shut guys down. Now, does he have the best lateral quickness? No, but he manages to use his strength to his advantage, and he's able to stop dudes dead in their tracks. And people just pretend like that doesn't happen. And then to your point, JBA, Curtis Hollis had a great run. I hope he makes it. Freaking LaMelo Ball was rookie of the year in the NBA. People, looking back at the JBA, I don't think it gets the amount of respect that I think it deserves.
No, I agree. I don't think it does. I feel like I know a bunch of guys who played Division I basketball and would have loved the opportunities that a lot of these JBA guys ended up getting after it was over. And I will say this, I will give them credit because most of the opportunities that they got on their own. But what I realized is that those opportunities came to them often because the love that, you know what I mean, just the respect that a lot of people had for the JBA. So, but, you know what I mean, they were out there making calls, finding agents and doing all of that stuff. But I think nationally here, we slighted the JBA a lot more than a lot of those other teams did. I mean, a lot of other countries around the world.
Yeah, because like you saw it a few times. Like they sold out a couple of those arenas, right?
Yeah. Especially, I mean, a lot of the international games, I mean, people were coming in from other countries, right? They were looking at how close do we get, and people were like traveling across borders to get to a game to watch those, right? Here domestically, there was a couple places that did a lot better than other places. Like we went to Chicago and they had Keizo Brown and that was rocking. They were up over in New York, that was rocking. They were in Jersey, that was rocking, and obviously out in LA was pretty solid as well. So it got a lot of love, man, and I think that gave them a lot of experience. And I feel like one of the things that like it's hard or like folks won't or are missing also with this Jello situation is the COVID, man, really hurt them, or you know what I mean, hurt his situation really bad, and it also hurt a lot of those JBA guys.
Absolutely. And then speaking of which, like people forget that Jello made the G League on his own prior to the Greensboro Swarm. And he started off as a practice player and then worked his way up. So that's another to the OKC Blue. And then to your point, day one of COVID hits after the first game. He never gets to play. But I'm just think it's funny how people just pretend like the kid can't play when he can clearly play. And I hope he ends up securing that contract.
Yeah.
This is. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, AB.
No, go ahead. I was just about to say something silly anyway.
Do we ever hear any NBA player come out and say he's complete trash? Like any of the people that were on his team that scrimmaged against him. You know, at one point we heard Gilbert Arenas say that LiAngelo wasn't ready. Then he came out and said he looks ready now. But we're talking about Hornets guys, OKC, Blue. Just come out and say, what is this guy doing here? No, because when you got to guard him, you're gonna know that he's there. People talk about he can't stick defense. We've seen Jello definitely get deflections just like his brothers. His lateral quickness, of course, like you said, needs improvement. But he is strong all the way around. And when you try to come in, we've seen what he did on Scotty Barnes in the summer league, the first one. You didn't let him get that bucket. You can't push this dude around. And sometimes people don't know because, you know, there's not a player that you can really say Jello is like this guy. They don't know how he fits. But I'm gonna tell you, if you play him with his brother, you know exactly how he fits. Not that he needs to, but if he does, you'll see every area that Melo is weak in, Jello is strong, and that is why they complement each other in a certain way. When you're talking about the Hornets, it's not about who are the best players. We've seen, you know what I'm saying, super teams just can't pull it out. You know, Russell Westbrook when he was with James Harden and KD, they just couldn't make it work. It's not always having the best pieces, it's the pieces that fit. And it's adapt, not try all the lineups, all the rotations. If you've been hearing for years that LiAngelo plays good with LaMelo, you've seen what he did in scrimmage, but now you deny us of letting us see if this rotation works when there's no excuse because you have all these players out. Jello is a legit player. Many good players can attest to that. And the chemistry that he has with LaMelo, it don't go away over a year span when you've developed it through just growth, through being a human, being born and being raised that way. It's always going to be there. That's why you see Melo playing ahead of other guys. And sometimes it looks like Melo's a little out of control, but Melo is playing off instincts of people just being where they need to be. And Jello's going to be there. So going to back to what we said, they gotta put Jello in with Melo for some amount of time. Don't do it just because the fans want it. Don't just do it because Lavar said it. Do it because you're running an organization and you need to see what pieces fit. And you guys are not looking good at all. Period. You're looking like straight gonna be the worst in the NBA. So just do it.
I completely agree with that sentiment. As is. How many games do you guys think they're going to win next season? The Hornets.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a struggle. I think that for the last couple of seasons, they have won 10 more games each season. I feel like as currently constructed with the rotations and what they're putting on the court right now, I think it might. Best case scenario, it stays the same. Worst case scenario, or most likely case scenario, they lose 5 to 10 more games than they did the previous season. Just because they just don't have the firepower that they had, you know what I mean, last year. Especially if Miles Bridges is going to be out, which honestly I'm not even sure. He might, if depending on how that things shake out. His face is still on the side of the building in Charlotte, so they haven't like 100% cut ties with him yet. So maybe, you know what I mean, he can come back, but I think whatever is not going to be as many wins as last season for sure.
It's not looking good at all. To me, from what I see, it's not looking good at all. It's like you got to have somebody on the team who you know is always going to go off this person or that person. Without Miles being there, without Jello being out there, it's like I don't see the consistency yet. Now I'm hoping that LaMelo has a crazy year, all-star year. I know we're gonna have some crazy highlights, some good games. You know, we're gonna be able to make some fire videos and stuff like that. But as far as a winning organization, the NBA is doing nothing but getting better. The East is doing nothing but getting better. I don't even want to say what I really see the Hornets looking like this year, because it ain't optimistic, and I'm a real optimistic person. I always see the cup is half full and all that. So all I'm gonna leave it is like it ain't looking good. That's why I made a video and I said they need the Ball brothers right now. This is a city in desperation. Did you see the Celtics in their preseason game? Packed stadium. Look at the Hornets. The gym empty as ever.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I'm seeing, if they don't get Miles back and they can't figure out their rotations, I honestly think they would be lucky to get 30 wins next season. But I do think Melo will be an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, Celtics, like you said, man, the East used to be just, people would go to the East because they know that they would be guaranteed a playoff spot. Now it's looking like the East is looking tougher than the West right now.
Yeah. But that also is because that's when my man King James was over there. So the East was trash because everybody was like, our best shot of winning something is going to the West. And then now that he over in the West, everybody like, shoot, let's go to the East. And so, you know what I'm saying, the depth is there. Yeah. But ball facts, do you remember, I was trying to look it up, but I can't find it. There was a guy from that Detroit Pistons team who did like an interview, and he was like, yo, people think that LiAngelo ain't that good, but he was good. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember who it is. It was a
it was a guy on. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but he was on.
That was OKC Blue.
OKC Blue. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you remember who that was?
Yeah. Because I put him in a video. I'm trying to find him. Damn, I done made too many videos.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But I remember that. So earlier you were talking about that of how many people see him play and nobody walks away from him like, bro, he ain't it. You know what I mean? Like everybody watches him and then comes away from that situation like, yo, yeah, it's actually a hooper, you know? So I was trying to...
Right. He was like, people think he can't hoop. That's what he said. People think he can't hoop. He said, if you put him in a gym with all hoopers, we're not talking about no little 24/7 fitness. He's talking about NBA hoopers. He's not going to be the worst one. He's like, I can guarantee you that. Yeah. He must have felt Jello or his shoulder, boom, with a hook, bam. He must have seen Jello running up and down the court. He must have seen Jello catch fire and said, man, what are these people talking about?
Yeah.
No, but I like what Jack said, because I don't hear that a lot. But remember, he made a team that Melo wasn't on. Remember, the virus is the only thing that stopped us from seeing him play without Melo. When y'all say the only way he could have got any foot into the NBA was through his brother's team, that's cap. The proof is in the pudding. So I like that, Jack Slammer. I'm gonna put that in the video, and you'll remember that I got it from you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna go hit the gym. This pre-workout's kicking in, but thank you guys so much for letting me be on the stream. That was a good time.
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate you pulling up.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Love your videos. Keep making.
For sure. He definitely on to something, man. I feel like that's something I always tell folks, man. That COVID or that health and safety protocols, all of that stuff, man, shook up the world, man. And it stopped one of the most anticipated nights in G League history. Folks has tapped in to watch Jello make his debut before they shut everything down. So that was hella unfortunate.
For sure. Man, next time you go to a game, if you know before, hit me up. Give me the heads up.
All right, bet. Likewise, let me know, man. I'll try to pull up. My thing is, most of the time when I'm trying to go, why I ended up never going last season is I was trying to find a good game to make it to Charlotte and then also like make it to Greensboro. You know what I mean? Like back to back, a game where they both was in the building at the same time. And then also one that like worked with my schedule. And so it just like never played itself out. And so this one here, I was like, yo, let me tap in. But you know what I think? I think that whenever if Lavar and them are at one of the next 2 preseason games, that'll be the game that we see them both on the court at the same time.
Yeah, that would be crazy if they don't play G whenever, you know what I'm saying, the fam comes out. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that'll be the sign that like, oh, it's going down, is they in the building and it just gotta happen. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So, yeah.
And I'm about to get up out of here, but I just want to say thank you, man. I never even forget what you did for me, man. Y'all got to understand, when I first was doing a couple videos, I made some videos. I had a little bit of a buzz, and my man Delane hit up AB, said, "Would you come on the show with Ball Facts?" And the fact that you came on there and you did that for me, bro, that just meant so much to me. And I'm gonna always have respect for you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say legend in the game. Still doing it to this day. If I see you live and I got the time, I'm coming.
All right, straight up, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you reaching out back then, man. And likewise, man. If you ever need me to pull up or jump on something, man, let me know, and I'm in the building for sure.
Okay, remember you said that because I'm working on something big. All right, bro.
All right, cool. Let me know. I'm there.
All right.
All right. Peace. All right. So let me see, man. I'm gonna try to go through some of these comments, man. Folks been going crazy. I see the debates in the comments for a minute now, man. But we've been in that conversation. I ain't got it. So if you had something crazy that you said, type it in there one more time, and I'm gonna get to it right now. Also, the StreamYard link is pinned, so if you want to join the chat, go ahead. But let's get the likes up, man. We have 55 likes, 73 people in the building. Let's get the folks in here to hit that boy. Let me see. You know what? It's also, here's something funny that I will tell y'all, and is like, you know how now the way the YouTube is set up, on the video you can't see the dislikes, but it's funny because on this thing that I use to stream, it shows you that now. Just like live, I can see how many people like it, how many people dislike it. And it's also funny where like there'll be nothing happening, and then I can see like a small little dislike bump off, and I can see like the likes when they happen. Like it's a little animation that pops up. So it's so not used to seeing dislikes anymore, just because of the way that they do the YouTube thing, that now when I see I'm like, damn, hold on, that hurt a little bit. No, I'm playing. There it is. Somebody just hit that boy. Yeah, way better situation. All right, so let's see, man. I feel like for the last couple of times, and then see somebody, the 2 people just disliked the video, and then they just unliked it, undisliked it as well. Now they went back. There you go. So, all right, let me see. We did a lot of talking about Jello and his situation right now, but I'm interested to see what y'all thoughts are on LaMelo as well. And you know what I mean? What's the trajectory? I heard somebody had a comment in here I was looking at, and they were saying like, you know, how does LaMelo make the All-Star team when the Hornets are going to be bad? I got you, my fault. I should like immediately. Basically, yeah, man, you got to hit that immediately. All right. And then so I think that's something that I think is interesting, because that will be a hurdle for him. It's all feedback, facts. Yeah. It will be a hurdle for him, because the way that this Hornets team is shaping up, it does look like they're going to be pretty there's going to be somebody say, let me see. He say Marcel definitely dislike Wiz hating. So that's what I'm saying. Marcel, bro, don't hit the dislike, man. Don't do that. LaMelo shouldn't ruin himself into the ground for the team. Facts. But see, that's what I'm saying. So this is what I mean. Is I do see the hurdle there for him, right? Because we remember last season, what's my man named Darius Garland for the Cavaliers, right? The reason that he kind of got the nod over LaMelo, right, with similar stats and all of that stuff, was the team was just playing better. And so folks gave him a bit more a shine, just because they like, yo, you on one of the best teams. So how do we we got to give you the nod. And so I think that will be a hurdle that he'll have to try to face when it comes to this year and trying to make it into the All-Star game. So it's either going to have to be like significantly improved numbers, or it's going to have to be All-Star level, or the team is going to have to play better. It can't be a little bit of both. Let me see. Not for this squad. So what do y'all think? Do you think that he has a chance on a significantly worse team this season than he did last season to make the All-Star game if his numbers go up? And if his numbers go up, what do you think they have to be in order for him to get into the All-Star game? Don't. I have to route there if he was on the Hornets. That's a fact. Yeah. Draymond definitely would be not happy to play on this Hornets team as currently constructed, for sure. Man, I gotta figure out how to. This software that I'm using like does another thing that like is annoying to me. It's like, depending on where you're at, like the comments show differently. So it's like I want them to be always in the same spot, but it changes, and I don't like it. Hornets have no paint presence. That's a fact. They need it. My man Slim Ken Hoop say he need to be 25 plus in order to get in there, and I agree. I think he's got to be 25 plus, but I think he damn near probably got to be a 30-point scorer to get it off. The Hornets are not running fast enough for Melo to run the offense like he's supposed to. And the team's defense is not good so far this year. Too much watching the ball. Facts. $24, 8, and 7. What was he at last year? 20 points? 20 points. I feel like he was close to those numbers on the back end, but yeah, maybe that gonna have to be in that range. The bigs need to play more aggressive. Facts. Let's see. Malaysia been in here since the beginning of the live stream. Malaya. Is it Malaya or Malaya? I think LaMelo is going to do fine. I don't know about All-Star, but I think LaMelo will have good numbers. I think LaMelo will average 25 points to make All-Star. Will have to average. I see that. I feel like, and that's the sad part, right? I think a lot of the conversation going into the beginning of this season about him was like, this is the year where he start to crack and start to be more strongly considered for these all NBA numbers, all NBA conversations, super max conversations. And so with this team struggling the way that it is, it's going to affect him in so many different ways, even the pockets. It's the boxing out, imagine Melo with a great coach. The one thing that I do like about Steve Clifford at the moment is he might not be what is considered a great coach, but I do think that he seems to be a coach who like believes in the players, and for the development of LaMelo, it sounds like he might be the guy who knows how to play good. I just listened to Melo recently. He said, if you know how to play basketball, then that's all the chemistry we need. Outdated offense with heavy pick and rolls and drive and kick threes and ran the Warriors movement style, it would be over. I think you just need more players. You need the right players for that. They definitely don't have the guys around Melo to run that style of offense at a high level. Malaya is what I think I said the second time. Hayward always hurt though. Facts. If Miles and Hayward were available, it wouldn't look as bad. That's a fact. And hustling to get his guy. Yeah, Hayward always hurt. Facts. Jello trying to get rebounds more than the bigs. He in there. That's what I'm saying. I think what Jello doing on the court, I don't see it going unnoticed, but it's a hard pill to swallow, man. Like, I think you got to add something else to it. All right, we got somebody else in the queue joining the stream. Let me see. B Morale. Let me see if I can. Hello?
How's it going, AB?
It's going good. It's going good. What's up?
Man, yeah, not just, follow of your channel. Great show as always. Great stream as always. Every time you post, I look forward to your vids and yeah, keep it up.
Hey, man, I appreciate that for sure. Always appreciate it, man.
Right. And so, all right. So, AB, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we all just go straight to the horse's mouth? When is the next Lavar interview coming up? When can we get another Lavar interview, AB?
That's what I'm saying. I was hoping he was going to be at the that last game. I need to reach out to him though, because I'm anticipating being in LA the weekend of the 23rd, 24th, 25th, somewhere in those 3 days. So I'm gonna try to link up with him then. So hopefully we get an interview or something done then. That's I ain't never told nobody that, but you asked, so I'm gonna say it. So hopefully I can. I'll be out that way. Hopefully they're available to like link up and maybe we could talk about some stuff. I think what is hard though is the last couple of times that I've like talked to him, like obviously you remember there was a point in time where Lavar was the mouthpiece of the South. You know what I mean? Like he you could go to him with and get any answer. He had an opinion on all of this stuff. And it feels like he's still invested in the boys and like helping them decide things. But this NBA stuff, man, they just doing their own thing.
Yeah, and AB, the reason why I asked that is because Lavar is the best person to get insight. Because I'm hearing all the noise because I watch your channel, I watch shout outs to Flight Sports, I watch all these guys, and all the noise on LiAngelo, right? The video that I go back to is actually your video when you actually watched Jello when he was in the Greensboro Swarm. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Lavar said was, he said, if you're not gonna play Jello any minutes, what's the best thing? You might as well have him sit at the end of the bench next to his brother. That's one of the things Lavar said that stuck with me in my head. So as of right now, as us seeing Jello, he's actually like what Lavar said, which is he's on the bench by his brother, at least, so that way Jello can get the experience. I watched another interview of Lavar. This is why I asked you, AB, if you can interview Lavar, because Lavar gives us the best insight on Jello's state, the state of Jello. I watched another interview of Lavar. This is with Shannon Sharp, and at the 30-minute mark, so Shannon asked him about Jello, and Lavar, he was very calm in his response, right? Because Shannon asked Lavar, "Hey, so Lavar, how are we gonna get Jello to the big leagues, to the big show?" And what Lavar's answer was, he said, "Man, I'm not worried about that. As soon as Melo get drafted, we on the school bus. Melo closed the school bus, so I'm not worried about Jello." So like with that insight from Lavar, he's not worried. Like we're all of us, we're all up in arms, and Lavar's the one. He's like, "Don't worry, it's happening." And so that's why I asked how soon can you interview Lavar, because he'll be the one to tell us how does he feel about Jello not getting minutes in the preseason so far.
Yeah.
How you say what, AB?
I think you call back to definitely some key moments, right? And I feel like that's truthfully, that's my perspective on it as well, right? That's one of the things I keep saying is like, it's really a trajectory, like it's a path. That's why one of the reasons why I was saying earlier, I don't believe he's going back to Greensboro.
Right.
It just don't make no sense. Either you send him to Greensboro to be like the guy and go down there and like tear things up, or like you put him on the end of the bench and you give him minutes, you know what I mean? Let him grow and practice with his brother and all of that stuff. But it's like, at this point, like it's not significant enough to send him to Greensboro. You know what I mean? Or put him on a 2-way contract or any of that other stuff, man. But so you're right. And that is some stuff that I think that I see, and I'm hoping that they kind of make the right decision with that, because for him, it's a significant increase in so many different things to be sitting on the end of that Hornets bench, and then to be in the down playing for the G League, right? You ever heard people say the best way to get a job is you already got a job?
Yeah, just get your foot in, right?
Exactly. So if you're a G League player, then for most people, you just a G League player. But when you go and you sign that NBA contract, like you're an NBA player. And so when you walk into different rooms, your name carries a certain amount of weight. It don't matter if you sitting at the last guy on the bench. It don't matter. Like it'll open the door for the next opportunity. You know what I mean? It's
not only that, AB, if we all look at it, Jello has graced an NBA court. Like his foot touched an NBA court. He's in NBA arenas. Like he's already there. Like he's soaking it all in. You know, if I can quote Lavar, like I think this is what Lavar means. Is like just have him in there. Have Jello in there. It's going to come. I know we all like, oh man, Jello's not getting minutes, and but Jello's there, and I think that's what Lavar is like basically saying. Like, another thing that Lavar said in that Shannon Sharp interview, because when that Shannon Sharp interview aired, that was before Melo got drafted, and so one of the things Lavar said, he said, "Man, throw him with his brother," right? One of the other things that stood with me was when Lavar said, if LaMelo plays with if Jello plays with either LaMelo or Lonzo, they will average 15 points easily. 15 assists. I said 15 points. He said they would average 15 assists easily, and I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. So that's just one of the things that stood with me with Lavar.
Man, he I say this all the time, bro. He on to something. He just watched the games. I think in the building, you can see when the ball comes off the rim, LiAngelo knows where he's going every time. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't just out there running. He has a spot in mind and he's going to get there. And I think that like a lot of other guys don't have that. They you know what I'm saying? They're running out there, but they not out there like running. And so I think he will average a bunch of assists, because when you look up in the arena and everybody's like, oh shit, Jello open. And the NBA is so quick, you know what I mean? You got a guy who's open for a split second. If you're not already anticipating that and throwing in the ball, like you won't complete that pass. And so I see it, man. I see it. That's one of the things
Yeah.
that the kid Lavar, man, or I say kid, but the Lavar speaks things into existence all of the time, right? And so
Yeah.
even I was just listening to a video. I probably need to double back and do a video about it. But I was listening to a clip where he was talking about Lonzo and his injury. And he was breaking down how he was saying way before this thing happened recently, where they say he was going back under the knife, but he was breaking down how Lonzo was the injury wasn't going as well as it should have been, and what he felt like was mistakes that the Chicago Bulls were making in that process. And sure enough, you know what I mean, give it some time, and as things shook out, it was like, yo, actually things ain't go right. We was doing shit the wrong way. We need to double back, and then you know what I mean. So he on to something, man. You're right. It's definitely they gotta give him some credit, man, and listen to him. One of the things I think I feel like needs to happen at some point is my man might need to go ahead and get a job in one of these organizations, right? You're trying to bring the best out of them boys. Yeah. What better way to do it than to go ahead and give him some love, man, and let him turn up and really start extracting what folks want to see out of them boys. You know what I mean?
So and AB, I was listening to you in Ball Facts, right? And one of the questions that I had for you guys, and I guess you can answer it. What is Steve Clifford's rotation? What is his rotation? Because it seems like to me he's going with like a 7-8 man rotation. Yeah. Like, what do you think will be Steve Clifford's rotation?
I think at this point it's hard, right? Because obviously what a lot of folks keep saying is it's the preseason, so you're experimenting. That was kind of Ball Facts' point about why you should get LiAngelo in the game at this point, is because what you're supposed to be doing right now is trying out things, trying out lineups, seeing who gels well together, seeing who got chemistry and all of that stuff. So like their rotations are strategically all over the place, right? And you think about part of the reason why they probably playing so bad is when you're in training camp, like you have the ones and the twos and these people play together. And then as the season, once the games start now, people get tired, and then all of a sudden you start putting those dudes back on to, you know what I mean? You start playing different people on the court together. So, you know what I mean? There's a bit of a struggle. So it's hard to call it because then you're thinking like Gordon Hayward is not playing right now. So somebody is getting minutes that they wouldn't normally be getting if Gordon was on the court. Then Cody Martin is not playing, so somebody else is getting minutes that they wouldn't normally be getting because Cody Martin is on the court. And then Dennis Smith Jr., who's trying to earn his spot, is not even out there. So somebody getting minutes in that place as well.
Watch
so
this. AB. Baby, you see how you said that, right? And that the first time both all three, Dennis Smith Jr., Gordon Hayward, and Cody Martin was out, you know what Steve Clifford did against Indiana? He had Terry Rozier play late into the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, Steve Clifford, he's playing games. Like he's being slick. Because that's one of the games where you can take Terry Rozier out with 8 minutes left in the third quarter, and you can play the bench, and the game was a blowout, but he didn't. He had Terry Rozier play the whole third.
Yeah.
So that's fishy to me. Yeah, go ahead, AB. Yeah.
I agree, man. I can see that, but I think it's like you gotta get guys going, right? And you gotta give guys an opportunity to play with people who are really good. So you need to see Terry Rozier and James Bouknight on the court for an extended period of time, or else you get James Bouknight out there with the third, fourth unit, and you don't know what you got, right?
Well, but AB, before you go, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's my question: who was the backup point guard? Me, I would think it's Dennis Smith Jr. So if you're Steve Clifford, why go 3 guards in? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like in football with quarterbacks. You have 3 strings. Why go to your third string when you could just play your first 2?
But that's what I'm saying. In that game versus Indiana, Dennis Smith wasn't even in the building.
Right, but when we get to actual NBA games, it's going to be Dennis Smith, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and then why? And then Gordon Hayward would be back. And AB, that's why I asked you to begin with. What would be the rotation? Because when the season starts, Gordon Hayward is going to be there. Dennis Smith Jr. will be there, and Cody Martin will be there. So we know Cody Martin is going to play. We know Dennis Smith Jr. is going to play because somebody has to back up LaMelo. So which means Bouknight may not get minutes in the season once Gordon Hayward and Dennis Smith Jr. returns.
Yeah, he's gonna get minutes, but I don't think Bouknight to me in the regular rotation will be like a 2 guard. So I think once it jumps off, you're gonna start seeing more of. I think that you got Terry Rozier, who is like a backup point guard kind of, right? In this situation where they're giving him some minutes, because even last year you would see moments where he would bring the ball up the court, you know what I mean? And Melo would be off ball. So I think they're just preparing for that stuff. But I think that Terry and LaMelo will, technically, it'll be, obviously Terry and LaMelo would be the backcourt, and then there will be some type of variation between who is the actual point guard. I don't think that you're going to see a lot of Bouknight bringing the ball up the court as a point guard. I think it's either it'll be Dennis Smith Jr., Melo, or Rozier as the point guards, and I think it'll change based on who is on the court. And you know what I mean, what time of the game is. But I think that when you're bringing somebody off the bench for the first time to give, bringing somebody off the bench for the first time to give LaMelo a break, I think it'll be Dennis Smith Jr.
So, and AB, the reason why I asked about the rotations, right? Because if there's an injury, whomever is out, that will tell us how Jello can get in. You know, does that make sense? Like. Yeah. Right. So, like, for example, like in preseason, see, Dennis Smith Jr., all right, let's just say all three. Dennis Smith Jr., Gordon Hayward, and Cody Martin was out. Therefore, Jello should play. Like, Jello should get bulk of minutes. But that's where it's fishy. That's where it's fishy so. Because didn't Clifford go with like a big lineup? He went with JT Thor, Nick Richards, and I feel like and Kai Jones. Why would you go with 3 centers?
But see, that's what I'm saying. I think, like, to me, I want to see Melo play. I mean, obviously, I want to see Jello get in. I want to see him get some burn.
Right.
But I think that right now it feels like he's not in the rotation. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not. If Gordon Hayward gets hurt and can't play for the season, they not looking at the bench like, all right, now we just gonna slide everybody down. Like, they know that the answer for that team is not on the bench, is what I think they're looking at it. And so if Gordon got hurt, and let's say what's the boy, the twin, what's his name? Martin. Yeah. If Martin and Gordon get hurt, I think they bring in a new free agent. They make moves and bring somebody else in. I don't think that they slide in and say, all right, now we got Jello, come on here. You know what I mean? I don't think that they feel that strongly about the team about the guys on the team at this point. I think, like, this season, if we see Jello get in, it'll be a while and he'll earn those minutes over time. But if it all collapsed tomorrow, I think that they just start rebuilding. And the team looks much different. But I don't think that they believe in Kai Jones like that. I don't think they believe in Nick Richards like that.
So, but why? But why play them over Jello in these preseason games? You know what I mean? Like, why?
Because
that's rhetorical, by the way, but you can answer it.
No, I feel you. To me, I think the issue is, like, Nick Richards. I want to say he played less this last game than Mark Williams did, and Kai Jones didn't play at all. So I think that they played those guys early to see if y'all the dudes or what we got from y'all. And all right, so AB, I think that they realize they don't have it.
AB, who's the backup center? Like, everyone in the chat, we're going to break this down right now, everyone in the chat. Well, what AB and I are doing, we're projecting and we're breaking this down to how Jello can get into playing position. All right, so AB, who's the backup center for the Hornets? That's what I need to know.
Let me tell you, I'm going to pull this up here for you.
Okay.
You can look at
because we know Plumlee, because what we saw last year with Borrego, PJ Washington played the 5 at times.
But that's what I'm saying to you, man. I don't think the roster as currently constructed matters for Gelo's playing time?
I think it does.
I don't.
Because,
I think.
Go ahead.
I think like right now, I got the depth chart up here. It says starting center is Mason Plumlee. They have here second is Mark Williams, which we've seen is not 100% correct. Is Nick Richards, and then they got fourth Kai Jones, and then fifth PJ Washington. Right now, if the season started tomorrow, I don't believe PJ Washington is your number 5 center. He probably is more, you know what I mean, is number 2, you know what I mean, on the depth chart, realistically, right? He's starting at 4 and then is the backup center, right? What I'm saying is why I don't think this roster dictates LiAngelo Ball's availability for this team is because right now, they are just, if Gordon goes out, Kelly Oubre moves in. Cody Martin then moves in as the second string at the 2 guard, right? But we know Cody Martin gonna play significant minutes anyway at either 2 or shooting guard, or they might move him down to 4. And what I'm saying is that I don't believe that they're like literally moving a lot of those guys who are on the back end of this roster into these the depth chart anytime soon.
But you would have to. All right, so let's project AB. So let's say in the season, Gordon Hayward, Martin, and Dennis Smith Jr. is out, right? Actually, no. Let's say Dennis Smith Jr. is out. I would think they would. I would think they would play McGowan's first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where Clifford would go from there, but I know Clifford will play McGowan's.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that?
That's what I'm saying. I think McGowan's right would be somebody who would probably get on the end of the bench and maybe play 4 minutes.
Because he will back up Oubre.
He would back up. He would be like a backup to the backup to the backup. You know what I mean? But they would, because then Jalen McDaniels is going to get more minutes, right?
I forgot about Jalen McDaniels. Oh, man,
JT Thor is going to slide in there somewhere and play more minutes. They might move PJ Washington to and make him play the small forward. You know what I mean? Like
so the solidified spots on the Hornets, we have let's go through it. So we have Mason Plumlee, PJ Tucker, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, LaMelo, obviously, Jalen McDaniels, Kelly Oubre. That's what, 7 players. Cody Martin. Yeah. So they get us. Yeah. I don't know, chat. I don't know if Gelo's gonna get some action, chat.
Yeah, and they all are interchangeable, right? None of these guys are really,
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the full-time players. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're gonna play them all over the place, and depending on the rotations and all of that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be hard for him to actually crack into the lineup. But this lineup is like ridiculous, right? So this ESPN, and they got the depth chart. They got James Bouknight, second string at point guard. They got Cody Martin, second string at shooting guard. Kelly Oubre, second string at small forward. Jalen McDaniels, second string power forward. You know what I mean? I don't know. So James Bouknight, like I said, I don't think he's playing point guard for real for this team. He definitely gonna be a backup shooting guard. Maybe Dennis Smith Jr. is number 2 here on that point. But I'm not even sure. I'd be interested to see how much playing time James Bouknight gets at the end when the season starts, if he don't like take things to another level anyway.
But see, and AB, this is why we need your Lavar interview ASAP, because in this case, we can ask Lavar, you can ask Lavar, in what case does he see Gelo playing? Because we just went through it. The Hornets already have 8 players that's full-time. Like, that's full-time, that's already in the rotation. And it's, if they go any deeper, you have McGowan's in front of Gelo, we have Bouknight in front of Gelo. It's like, in what case can Gelo get an opportunity? And it's tough, because only Lavar would know.
Yeah,
this is why we're here, right?
Facts. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think LiAngelo's opportunity would come from, I don't know. He would, to me,
somebody has to be out.
Yeah,
rate.
LiAngelo is in the spot, like realistically, right? If we look at his trajectory to how he got on the team and all of that stuff, LiAngelo is in the spot where you remember last year or was it last year or the year? Yeah, it was last year where they had all of these health and safety protocol things happening, right? Where damn near the league, they just were calling people up.
Right. And Jello was like the 12th person they called, which is not right. Which is I don't get. I don't get. But go ahead, AB.
And so he so last year would have been the year to, you know what I mean, to get a call. So I'm saying like this year, that type of situation, like where LiAngelo would have to find himself in the situation like when you talk about all these injuries, people go out, he get in there, they like, yo, we need to do something, we got to bring in a free agent, we got to sign something, make a trade, we got to, or else we just gonna be trash. Then they bring Jello in and they like, yo, we need you, you're gonna play some spot minutes, we gotta, you know what I mean, for you.
That's
and
all
he
needs,
and he go crazy.
That's all he needs.
And he got to go crazy, and then they're gonna be like, "Well, let's see, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we could do it again." You remember Jeremy Lin?
Yes.
Lin Sanity. That's Jello got to go on that type of run at this moment in order to like crack into the depth chart.
But the question is how? How can that happen? And it's tough. I don't know how. And AB, that's why I would like for you to ask LaVar whenever you get your LaVar interview, because LaVar he likes to say, "Oh, well, put Jello with his brother. Watch what happens. Put him with his brother." Well, who's Jello gonna play over? It's gonna be Terry Rozier. It's gonna be Gordon Hayward. Like, come on, LaVar. Let's come on. And you know, LaVar will probably say Jello's better than Rozier. You know, LaVar would say that. But us being realistic, who can Jello play over? Like, it's tough.
But that's what I'm saying.
He don't play with his brother.
He don't. In my head, it's not even like him playing over anybody. It's like him getting a shot, right? So at some point, all of these dudes got to come out of the game, and his initial shots will be like in that time where the game is over for some reason. Either y'all blowing somebody out or y'all getting blown out, and he come in and earn his keep. And then they be like, when shit's going left at another point, they be like, yo, man, remember that time Jello was shot the lights out in the last 10 minutes of that one game? Then I think okay, point out all dudes can run. What you mean? All right, so then I think that's where his like second chance come in. You know what I'm saying? So, from what I can tell.
Go ahead.
No,
AB, let me rephrase. All right, yeah. So let me rephrase my question, right? Because I'm basically asking you the same question for like 5 times, right? So let me rephrase my question. Let's say hypothetically, Jello's a fifth stringer, which he probably is. He's a fifth stringer, right? And LaMelo, he's the first stringer, obviously. My question to you, AB, is what are the chances a fifth stringer can play with a first stringer? Like, what are the chances Jello, who's the fifth stringer, can play with a first stringer who is Melo? Like, how can that happen? How can we make this happen? How can this come about?
Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying. I feel like, to me, the beautiful situation that they're in is like there's narrative around it. So in most cases, like if you are the fifth, we take the Los Angeles Lakers, right? And you might join the team and you could be the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th guy on the roster. And at some point, you just want to get in the game with LeBron, right?
That's not happening.
And that's what I'm saying. It's just not. And nobody, you're the only person in the building who really wants to see that and have it happen. Like nobody cares. Right. It's not going to happen. You're not getting in the game with LeBron. By the time you get in, like he been out for 5 minutes. It won't happen. The beauty of this situation is there's narrative around it. There's a story there. There's like a reason to do it that's greater than just like we just want to see it you know what I mean, like chance or whatnot. So I think that like there's a decision that people will make that will allow that to happen, you know what I mean, more so than like the cards falling or, you know what I mean, injury or something happened to somebody and then all of a sudden they end up on the court to each other. I think intentionally there'll be a time where they'll create space for that to happen. And that is the type of time where I'm saying like LiAngelo has to seize the opportunity and do what everybody thinks he will do and what folks say he can do in that moment. And if he does that, it's up and it's stuck for him.
But see,
if not on this team, on the next team at least.
But see, no, he'll be on the Hornets. But see, look, I sound like Lavar right there. But see, but AB, even with that, all Jello has to do is play with his brother. That's all he has to do. Like, he doesn't need to like impress who Steve Clifford. Well, if Jello plays in the preseason and LaMelo's already on the bench, Jello's gonna have to score some points. Yes, but all Jello has to do is step on the court with his brother. Because to that quote that I mentioned earlier, speaking with you, to what Lavar said in the Shannon Sharp interview, he said, "Oh, put Jello on the Hornets. Watch what happens." LaMelo would average 15 assists. So that's all Jello has to do is touch that court with his brother. Oh, he's off. He's good, but which is why I asked you how. What are the chances? But it's we don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Jello has to jump over 9 players just to touch the court with his brother.
Yeah,
he has to jump over 9 players at least.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. But I think he'll get the opportunity to do it. Just because people notice, man, that nobody cares if somebody. This is what I was saying in that last game, like the game that I was at where they played the Pacers. They stopped the game and they told the players, "Get Jello the ball." Like they literally were not giving him the ball. Like he was out there running to his spots. And they called plays back to back to back in order for him to run the offense through him. And so I think that's the beauty of being Jello Ball in this situation is those opportunities will present themselves where they will say, "Get Jello the ball." You know what I mean? And folks will be like, "All right," and then they got to go do it, you know? And so I think that's where his opportunities will come in. But I will tell you this, and I know earlier you was like, "Oh, play for the Hornets," but I think if you talk to Lavar without saying anything, he open to a couple different franchises who would love to have his boys play together on the same team and give that an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah, Lavar said the Clippers. He said the Lakers could be an option again in the future. We don't know.
Yeah.
But like, all right. So let me ask you this, AB. This is my question. Do you see any situation where Terry Rozier is unhappy with his position? Do you see any situation where Terry Rozier is not performing? Like, do you see any situation where Gordon Hayward may want to get traded? Because Gordon Hayward being out right now for the preseason, it says knee contusion. That basically chat knee contusion. When you see NBA players out with a contusion, that means they bumped their knee or they bumped their elbow. That doesn't mean like it's like some type of ulcer or anything.
Yeah.
So that knee contusion thing sounds fishy. So my question to you is, do you see Terry Rozier underperforming during the season where Terry Rozier will get demoted or get traded, and same for Gordon Hayward, or do you see that?
I don't think so. I heard what's his name? Steve Clifford talked about Gordon Hayward, and according to him, like Gordon wants to play right now. Like he wants to be on the court, and they're not letting him play because he's missed so much time. That they don't want a chance having him get hurt or something happening to him in the preseason and then him missing significant actual season time. So like you said, his injury is not like a really bad one or one that would probably warrant him to miss this much amount of time in the actual season.
It's a knee contusion.
Yeah, come on. but they're just like, "Yo, we need you when the season get going, and we rather have you then instead of now." You know what I mean? But I think so. So I think that he's fine. He getting paid way too much money to be upset or complain about anything. I think that Terry Rozier though is in a similar situation where Terry Rozier for this team, if I remember correctly, like when they call. I was there and I think I recorded, so I have to like look back at it. But when they are doing the player announcements of you know what I mean, who's coming off the bench, who the starting lineup, like they still call Terry Rozier's name last. So like for Terry Rozier, he's still the vet on this team. He's still the guy. I remember listening to him in some of these post games where he talked about like his conversation with Steve Clifford. If you need to get the team together, if you need X, Y, and Z, I'm the guy who you go to, and I will make these plays and get stuff together. And so I think that he's solid, at least for this season or the next one, on this team as far as his role go. They already gave him his money. It's in the locker room, from a locker room standpoint, it's his team. And you know what I mean? Right. Everybody knows that LaMelo is the guy, but you know what I mean? There's some purpose for Terry Rozier on this team, and him and LaMelo seem to get along. So I think that he's good. I don't see him playing himself out of a position anytime soon, or being upset with where he at.
All right, so AB, so let me ask you the same question, but at 8 different time. Look,
Okay.
Hey, chat, we're just trying to find ways where Jello can play. This is why we're here. We're trying to find ways where Jello can play. All right, so I'm asking you the same question, but at 8 different time. The question that I have is, do you think the Charlotte Hornets are happy with this 8-man rotation that they have? Like, see, Jalen McDaniels, he's not a typical bench player where it's like he can move the needle. Like, if you're the Hornets, are you happy with this 8-man rotation, which is the Martin, Hayward, which we named earlier, which is Dennis Smith Jr., Rozier, like. If you're the Hornets, are you happy with this full-time 8-man rotation? Are you happy with that? That's my question anyway.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I think I believe truthfully that if Miles Bridges' situation don't happen, like, this roster is not constructed the way that it's constructed right now. Like, I think that they listening to Mitch Kupchak talk at the end of last season, right? I felt like his whole thought process was, yes, we were pretty good last season, but we weren't as good as people thought we were, right? So we weren't about to make a move and bet the whole house on this team as currently constructed, right? But I felt like they were prepared to maybe make that move moving into this season. And then Miles Bridges thing happened because they had the bag ready for Miles. There may be some other moves that they could have made. Wasn't it? Who did they? I feel like I can't remember. They had was it? Let me look at this up real quick because I can't remember. But you know what I mean. They were trying to do something with the coach. A lot of different things, and they ended up having to renege on a lot of that stuff because things didn't go the way that as planned.
All right, so let me rephrase my question. AB, you're in Mitch Kupchak's shoes, right? You're the GM for the Hornets right now. You're the GM you're the guy who's in charge of the basketball operations for the Charlotte Hornets. You, AB, you're the GM. You're in Mitch Kupchak's shoes. Mm-hmm. Are you happy with this Hornets roster going into the 2022-2023 season?
No way.
What changes will you make? So right now, look, we're role playing, chat. We're role playing. So I'm the media, and AB is the Mitch Kupchak. So what if you're not happy with this roster, AB? What changes will you make to this roster? What will you add to this roster? Yeah, or what can you add to this roster?
Man, what I would say is, from just watching the games, one of the things that they are missing. They need more than anything in the world is they need a big. Like, they are sorry, it's over here. If I'm in that front office, like, you need a defensive big, or just somebody who can consistently, you know what I mean, give you minutes on the defensive end that will, like, can translate to stops. That's where the number one issue that they having right now is, like, you got Mason Plumlee down there, and on the offensive end, to me, seems sporadic. On the defensive end, he seems sporadic. Big dude, one of the biggest. I'm talking about, like, he not only is he tall, but he's stocky. You know what I mean? Like, he a big guy. You think that he would have a more significant presence in the paint, and he don't have it. That would be the thing that I would make a move for, right? more than anything, that would be the calls that I would be making, right? And I think that the tough situation at the end is, you know what I mean, what big is out there that can you call on that will get that done for you?
But it's not really more so what big is out there. See, I think this is why Steve Clifford played all of those 5 bigs that he had.
Yeah.
Because you have about 5 bigs in your farm system, which is JT Thor, Kai Jones, Nick Richards, and Mark Williams. So if that's the case, how do you know?
But
how do you know, AB?
We watched them all play. That's why they all got. That's what I'm saying. That's why they all got all of the minutes. He was trying to see who gonna step up. And Nick Richards don't look like it.
But AB, if those guys are not the answers, then why are you holding 5 centers in your farm system? Why? Why don't you just wave all of them or trade them to the 76ers G League team, like the Delaware? I think what's the name? The Delaware Sixers or something like that. Like, get rid of them. Why don't you do that? Or why don't you waive Mason Plumlee?
Because you need value for him. Like the biggest issue that they have is you have to, like, all of them guys are not on contracts that take up any significant cap space, right? So
therefore, it should be easy for you to drop them.
It'd be easy for you to drop them, but it don't make it easier for you to put somebody in there who is going to give you what you want. You know what I mean? Like, in order for you to get what you want in that space, you got to move one of these pieces. You got to come up off of PJ Washington. You got to come up off Gordon Hayward. You got to come up off maybe even
that
Jalen.
I agree with.
What? They got Jalen Crutcher? No, I'm looking. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the something else here. Yeah. Jalen McDaniels, you know what I mean? Like, some of these guys who seem like they have created some value. Nobody is checking for Nick Richards. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is checking for some of these other guys at this point.
AB, you saw what Nick Richards did against the Nets last year. He was balling.
Yeah,
the Brooklyn Nets.
That's what I'm saying. It's sad though, because I remember Vernon Carey. Vernon Carey was in the system, and they brought him up, and I remember his first game. Melo's rookie year, he came in balling, and it looked like, oh, they got one in Vernon Carey, and he just didn't develop, and then Nick Richards, Nick Richards took his spot. So, like, these guys have gotten opportunities, but they just haven't held it down in the way that they should, man. So I think that's the hard part is you need a big, you need somebody else. But how do you package things together in order to create that space? I truthfully liked Montrezl Harrell more than I like Mason Plumlee, by far. I would have loved to see them keep Montrezl and do something with Mason. But you know what I'm saying, that didn't happen. But so he messed up, fumbled the bag.
Yeah, and I think we broke this down enough, AB. But see, and that's to one of my points, AB. Actually, to all of our points, you've got rid of Montrezl Harrell. Miles Bridges is not there. Why is there still no space for Jello? Why is there still no space for Jello? You just got rid of 2 players that were part of your rotation. There's still no space for Jello. So it's I don't know, man. I don't know. We broke this down enough, like the last 20 minutes just now. So yeah. It's
hard, man. It's hard. Hopefully he get an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? But once he gets his opportunity, he will have earned it for sure.
Yeah, so I'm about to head back down to the chat. AB, thanks for having me up. But how soon can we get this Lavar interview? AB, we need answers. We need Lavar's the only one who can give us a scenario to how Jello played, because we just try to broke it down just now. We tried to, but
yeah, no, I'm hoping, man, I can link up with him sometime soon and make that happen, man, because that would be good. The culture needs it at this point, you know.
I mean, because that's the only way we know. Like, you just had Ball Facts up here. You know, he's upset Jello didn't get minutes. FYF, he's happy Jello's not getting minutes. So Lavar is the only one who can break this thing down. So Yeah, great show, AB. Great channel. I follow you every time. I look forward to your videos. And I'll tune in later. Thanks for having me up.
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Right.
Yep. Anytime, man. Great conversation, man. Definitely pull back up, man. Anytime you want. Let me slide this back here. Which one is this on? Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. I think that LiAngelo is in a tough situation. A tough situation. But I think he will. For him, it's just about patience. Waiting his time and then getting a shot. But let me see. Somebody said, where is it at? That the Vernon Carey comment that was here, man. Let me look it up. That's coaching, AB. All right, here you go. That's coaching, AB. Vernon Carey was sent to the G League where you don't develop. But that's what I'm saying is like when the time that I'm talking about is I remember Vernon Carey was in the G League bubble and they brought him out of the bubble to play. And he ended up finishing off the season with the Hornets. And he was looking like the guy. All right, bro, you're the dude. You're about to make it happen. And then by the time the next season started, Nick Richards was outplaying him. And Nick Richards was the one who spent the time in the G League. I think it's actually a bit of the opposite sometimes, where when you are in the G League, at least you're getting some burn. At least you get an opportunity to hoop and grow a little bit. And sometimes sitting on the end of that bench is cool because you get the chance to be in practice, but it's also a curse because you don't get the chance to like develop in-game speed. My man, the doctor say, does FYF Sports even hoop? Yeah, I believe he hoops. If I remember correctly, man, I'd heard him talk about hooping a few different times. And I believe he coached a team and a bunch of other stuff as well, man. So he definitely an athlete. And he from Indianapolis, and that's all they do out this way is hoop. He got drafted, so that makes them better. Jello. Players and not actual team. Facts. Exactly. Yep. That's a big thing, right? The G League, you can play on that G League squad and be hooping down there, but most of the guys who you going to play with on your actual team, they ain't seen you hoop like that. They ain't seen you put in them numbers. They ain't seen you get after it. So this ends up being a tough situation. Let me pull this up, man.
They've been a 10th seed since 2 years in a row, and now they might be the 12th or 13th seed.
Well, that's the conversation. You know, that means somebody's going to be leapfrogging them. You know,
what is it to leapfrog? There's nothing there.
Let me watch this. All right, let's check this. Let's try this. All right, let me see. Let's see if we can join Flight and them over here. Hello. All right.
They never acquired anything. Think about that. They acquired Xavier Sneed, and Xavier Sneed is injured. Flight. Right. The man wrist is broke. How do you go and get somebody that can't even contribute immediately to this disaster? It's confusing and chaos written in the skies.
Low Flight Sports TV. We got
AB the Hero. What's the deal?
Y'all live right now with AB the Hero as well.
Oh damn! Okay, that's perfect. This ain't never been done before. Shout out to AB the Hero. Salute to the whole audience over there, man. We appreciate y'all.
Shout out to the living legend, iconic AB the Hero, the grandfather of this thing.
Triple B's.
Straight out. Appreciate y'all, man. I heard y'all in here going in. Yeah.
And you
we out here.
merged us with a life.
Yeah. So
I'm happy that you're over there. I want to say something. I remember when you inducted me into the Ballerverse. It was on Christmas Day. You know, you had a Christmas Day stream. You know, I was gonna clip that out and put that on the video. I was telling people about that, man. Shout out to the Ballerverse, man. You know, it's very alive, man. It's out here. Salute to AB the hero. What's the deal?
Nah, man, we good, man. We've been having one of these thorough Jello conversations, man, and the trajectory of him and Melo and all of that stuff, man. So I was like, yo, let me see who on the net right now, and I thought to myself, man, only right to include Flight Sports and my man All Access Dex into this conversation, because you know what I mean, y'all are the aficionados and the connoisseurs of this topic, you know what I mean, as well.
Right.
Yes, sir. We're on the front line with you, brother.
Yeah. One of the I honestly, one of the things that, and y'all was in the midst of talking to LaMelo, so I wanted to ask y'all some questions if I can. With this upcoming season, right, we done seen LaMelo get better and better with every season that he's played, right? But this team looks like it's going to be worse. How do you think that impacts the trajectory of his career when we talk about all-stars, when we talk about you know what I mean, all NBAs and all of this stuff? Do you think that he's still going to have the cachet with this season to get some of them same accolades, or is this going to be is this going to hurt his growth a little bit?
I can take that. I don't think it's going to hurt his growth. You know, in my humble opinion, let's say the way everybody's looking, everybody's so cautious. You know, let's say, for instance, the Charlotte Hornets bottom out. You know, they have this year that everybody's scared that they may have. What if they turn around, you know, on lottery night and get the #1 overall pick? You know, with that, I don't think it changes anything if you have a year that maybe is offset. You know, we've seen guys make the you know, get individual accolades, even though that they had a down year. We've seen that before. So that's not out the realm of possibility. If LaMelo Ball is balling out of control, you know, the NBA executives, they're gonna get this guy in there, you know, in some form of fashion. You know, we should have the power to get him in no matter what. I don't know what the hell is going on with the analytics down in that department. But I don't think it's gonna hurt him, in my humble opinion. You know, I think it's just, I want to hope that this is just could be one bad season, but I'm very optimistic that something could go down. You know, Dex, I don't know if Dex want to add on to that.
Yes, most definitely. Like, listen, we already know LaMelo Ball is psychotic, and this is a scenario that LaMelo Ball can only dream of. And I know it looks a little frail with a lot of the others, especially Gordon Hayward hurt, the Miles Bridges absence, and the Cody Martin that's injured. The only thing seem permanent is the absentee of Miles Bridges. But Gordon Hayward will be back. Cody Martin will be back. So that could give it a little more solidification as far as the congruency of the schematics that Cliffy will put out there on the court with players who know what the hell they're doing and know how to play within their lane. Gordon Hayward has that identity. Miles Bridges Cody Martin has an identity, and we all know LaMelo Ball got the keys. See that LaMelo Ball is, I believe, inside in his heart, I mean, it might be a little nervousness because it's the first time he's 21 years old that he has that NBA team and he's the face of a billion-dollar franchise. But deep down, beneath all of the surface facade, I believe LaMelo Ball is thrilled that this is his shit. This is his giddy up. And his daddy told him this would happen. Think about that. From a youth to a young man to a young adult, his daddy been in his ear saying, Melo, you're going to have that opportunity to run your franchise to be the best player in the world. This is your moment right now. And he knows that, and he's trying to keep it encompassed. He's trying not to circumvent the process, and he's trying to keep it with actually living in his destiny. And he's continuing in that journey to be what his father said it was going to be like. So this is not something that's unfamiliar with him subconsciously and to some degree on the surface consciously. But of course, he have to wear that mask, be that leader, and make sure his teammates don't have unnecessary resentment based on what he displays out there on that basketball court. I said it one time, I said it twice, that Cliffy gave this man the keys. I went on multiple streams, AB, touting this, that he got the keys, he got his number, and LiAngelo would be on the team. So, of course, people say, okay, Dexter, you capping, blah, 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 right? But then I told him, when I leave your stream, when that moment comes, please give me my cadoodles. Not for self-grandizement purpose, but just as being amongst the brotherhood and sharing information that this will come true, because I honestly believe what Lavar said about his boys. See, I honestly believe that. By having a face-to-face, eye-to-eye, chest-to-chest conversation on multiple times with the big brother Lavar, I come to realize that this man knows what the fuck he's saying. And on top of that, he thinks outside the matrix. And the reason why a lot of people is not understanding LB, and that's Lavar Ball, of course, is because he thinks outside the matrix. There's no gray box in him. He draws a line in the sand, and he goes for it from there. And the people don't understand, well, let me say not the people, but that's the majority of the matrix, or they sleep in the matrix, or they just be happy being a sheep. And they don't want a new shepherd. So that's why he gets backlash from people who really don't know what the hell they're talking about and really don't know what the hell they're seeing. So they want to grab LaMelo, right, to themselves, and they don't deserve him, of course. They don't deserve him. But then they want to poo-poo on the rest of the brothers. Now that LiAngelo is making a splash, even though, you know, of course his minutes are not being what we might want him to be, but he's there. He's on the board, AB. He's on the board, 1 point, 1 rebound. So he's on the board. And the last I heard, he moved up slightly in the depth chart. And by, like I said before I came on, the Charlotte Hornets didn't make a splash in the offseason to acquire somebody or some players to assist LaMelo in his growth and development as being a face of a franchise. I think he's doing a good job so far in the preseason. At least he's not knocking out his players, that's for one thing, even though some of them might need to be swung on. You know, some of them players need some mitts put on them, but we ain't gonna go there. The thing about it is that when you don't make moves to improve, then you die. They actually died last year when they lost that playing game with the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah. Because there's no forward movement. It's been nothing but constant regression. And then they go and make a move and pick up Xavier Sneed, who's injured.
Yeah.
They picked up an injured player. That is mind-boggling in itself, AB.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's obvious that this Hornets team at the moment, as a organization collectively, is not thinking like, let's get as good as we can be, right? But I do think that they have made some positive strides. And when I'm looking at LaMelo on the court, I'm watching the box score and seeing the minutes and the things, it does feel like the transition between LaMelo is one of our really good players to Melo is our guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I see that based on actual things happening on the court and all of that stuff. So I do see that. I think the part of the conversation that we were having, and I think y'all both tackled it so eloquently, is that like the what's next of it all. You know what I mean? Like after two throttlings in those playing games, right? They had a come to Jesus meeting, you know what I mean, just as an organization. And so it's important for them. So now they look like they having to figure out this stuff on the fly, right? Especially with the bridges and all of that stuff. And some of the who are we and what guys do we want on this roster. One of the guys, obviously, we've been talking about, you know what I mean, being on this roster and how he can maybe make an impact or how he can get a spot on this team is LiAngelo Ball. And you said that you heard that he was moving up the roster. I told people this, that I've heard a lot of the negative conversation around LiAngelo in the box score when it comes to him. But when I went to that game versus the Pacers, in the building, it felt different, right? I noticed that when he was on the court initially, they were doing what they normally do, and they weren't like finding him to get him the ball. It didn't happen like, yo, we're gonna bring LiAngelo in and here go your time to shine, right? Everybody who was in there just got off the bench. They was all looking for their own moment and trying to solidify themselves. And there was a distinct switch after, I believe it was a timeout or something, where they came back on the court and the next couple of plays were Jello Ball plays. And to me, that says something. It said that this organization, like, for one, notices that that's what the people want to see. But from what I'm watching, I've noticed that they've played certain people and not played certain people because it seems like they're looking for something as well. So I guess my question to y'all is, what do you think LiAngelo has to do to get on the court for this Hornets team? Or like what is the future of him? Is this just like, you know, he's going to end up in the G League? Is he going to end up on this team playing on the end of the bench? Like what do you think is the trajectory for him in the next you know what I mean, and over the next couple of games, next couple of months?
Well, let's see. You know, in the words of Lavar Ball, we got to stop acting like this ain't never been done before. You know, so it's not out the realm of possibility that LiAngelo Ball still stays currently on the Charlotte Hornets. But in any event, you know, he would happen to go elsewhere. Why in the hell would he not be one of the first call-ups? I mean, it would be obviously Jalen Crutcher himself. But if we just going down that realm, you know, but I'm more thinking positive, you know, with the first statement, what I said, but I'm giving both sides of the coin, you know, but either way, just like you have stated on many occasions, you put out some great videos recently, you know, LiAngelo Ball, you know, this guy's going to be, the sky's the limit, you know, things on the ups and ups for him, man. Let's just see what happens.
Mm-hmm. No,
well,
go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this right here. Now, I was a two sports star. I won't say star. I was a good two sports athlete in high school. And one thing I can tell you, when you see a person out there playing baseball, and you see him swing, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Even though he may not make contact with the ball, It's the way that his body is in alignment while he's swinging. You know that that player can play some baseball. When a violinist sees a person stroking the scales of the violin after one or two notes, that violinist knows if that person can play the violin. So when it comes to LiAngelo, after seeing him explode in the summer league initially, then back that up with an explosion in the G League, then coming back for an invite to the summer league and have a pretty decent game all around, that is, you know he can play basketball. So you don't think that the Charlotte Hornets and their scout team, or even seeing them up close personal in 3D, that they know they're looking at a basketball player? When we hear Cliffy describes what is he expecting from the bottom five, we know that LiAngelo Ball strike all the chords. When we see Tyrone Corbin, a former head coach of the Utah Jazz, and been with Cliffy through some of his tours of duty when Cliffy was head coach on various teams. Tyrone Corbin was present. Also, Tyrone Corbin took the Utah Jazz to the playoffs while he was head coach. Calls timeout, because that's what called the timeout, and reconfigure the offense and scream in some of the players' ears how disappointed he was. Dissatisfaction brings about a change. That's why you saw him run the play to Jello in the corner, even though it was a congestion.
Did we lose Dax?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, Dax is crazy.
Yeah,
in a good way. Dax talking that talk.
Yeah, he was on the road there. He's speaking the real, because that's what I was telling folks earlier, is that I think that if you are like, if you're an athlete, if you understand the game a bit in any way, you understand like what situations you can be in that might not make you look the best. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think about like football, where I played football growing up. And when I was a kid, it didn't matter. I was going to play in boots. I'd play in sandals. I'd play in, socks. You know what I mean? I didn't ever play any way but barefooted. You know what I'm saying? And it got to a certain point where the only way I was touching the field is if I had my cleats on. Because I know that it's important for me to put first of all, I don't want to hurt myself, or I don't want to injure myself or whatnot. You know what I mean? But I'm coming out there with cleats on because that's the best case scenario for me to do well. And so, but if for anything had ever happened and you caught me out there without my cleats on, you still could tell from the and if I slipped, you would still be like, but I noticed that he fell over because he didn't have the cleats, but there was something else there. You know what I'm saying? And I think that for me, when I'm analyzing, and I'm hoping that this locker room sees it, when you put a LiAngelo Ball out there in the circumstances that he's been in at times, like I know that they have to see like, oh, but wait a minute. Obviously, he's a shooter, and we're putting a shooter in the worst case scenario to be a shooter. You know what I'm saying? And I like to think that why they called those plays for him, because they did have a one for him in the corner where he's tripped over, but then they brought it right back and they ran one where he drove it and then kicked it to a guy in the corner, and then another one with the similar motion. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that they did that. And when he did that, man, I was like, wait a minute, boy, you look like you might be an NBA player. So I don't know. That's what. So I appreciate where you was going with that, Dex. With your the violinist analogy and the baseball swing analogy, you on to something, man. And I feel like if this is a real organization, they hopefully they see that as well.
Yeah, I believe honestly LiAngelo's safe.
Yeah,
I believe he's safe for various reasons. But nevertheless, I believe he's safe. Now, this is what I've noticed, just based on my just personal research, is that LiAngelo really have to just beat out one person, and that is Jay Sims. If he can beat out Jay Sims, and right now he got the upper hand because Jay Sims haven't seen the floor since that first game where he took those 3 consecutive shots, and and all those shots that he took, he missed, and it led to buckets for the Boston Celtics on the other end. So he basically gave up 6 to 8 points in the shot that he took, but never put a dent. 3 shots back to back, and then shooting one of the last shots. So he had like 4 shots within that 3-minute span because him and Jello played about the same type of minutes. Mm-hmm. But the difference was Jello shot his shots, although he missed them, within the scheme of things. He didn't break the offense, nor did he send anybody in confusion by being out of position, and people have to scramble to try to compensate for a player that's just doing a little too much, but not saying that to him. And Jay Sims was that player. So all he have to do, because Jello was slotted as a shooting guard, no other position that he slotted at is in the depth chart, and Jay Sims is slotted in that same category. So if he can beat out Jay Sims, then most likely he will have that 15.
Most definitely. Sorry, AB, I want to introduce our guys who just rolled in the panel. We got my man Nico Savage in the building. We got my man Juju. What's the deal, Juju?
No, for real, man. I came in and I saw y'all, we're talking about LaMelo Ball and LiAngelo Ball, and, I was interested in having a conversation. So I wanted to see what was your thoughts?
Most definitely. Before we get into it, man, I want to congratulate you. I was checking out your channel, man. I want to salute to you and everything that you got going on, man. You got a lot of good things moving with the anime content. I didn't even know that you was into that, man. But you really perfecting that lane. Man, I want you to keep going, man. I wish you nothing but the best on your channel. And everybody that's rocking with anime content, you need to get with Juju. Otherwise, you really not with this anime.
Yeah, man. Like, I really appreciate that, man. You were one of the first people to, even push me to do YouTube in the first place. So it's a big credit to you. I really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, most definitely. So what's your thoughts on this whole situation with the whole Hornets and everything we were just discussing?
Well, firstly, I have a bunch of things about the Hornets, but specifically we can kind of talk about LiAngelo and where he's at. Basically we predicted this for years. We've all came on panel, talked about how LiAngelo Ball needs to be in the NBA. He needs to be on the roster. And finally the Charlotte Hornets make it happen. So that's the plus, that's the check mark. And now it's just about him getting on the court, him getting crucial minutes and actually being a benefit to the team. That's the next step that we need from LiAngelo. And I think he's definitely going to, of course he's going to make it there, right? We've already predicted that he's going to be on the team, period. And now the new prediction is that eventually he will be getting a lot of minutes on the team, a lot of valuable minutes. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So far from what I've seen in preseason, oh my God, it's low key worse than the summer league, because in the summer league, it was like, you have guys with the ball that'll kind of look off LiAngelo, try to create their own shot, not really pass it as much. And you're seeing the same type of thing in the preseason. And, you know, it's only natural because in the preseason, you're trying to compete to actually get valuable minutes on the roster during the season, or even, you know, stay upon the team. So guys are going to be playing out there kind of selfishly and not really looking for LiAngelo as much as they should be. Or, you know, maybe if LaMelo was on the court, you know, maybe he would get a lot more opportunities. So from what I'm saying right now with LiAngelo is just he's not getting the opportunities due to, you know, who he's on the court with. And then the minutes, I think a lot of people have talked about him not getting that many minutes. I think, again, that's kind of natural as well. The Hornets did a similar thing with LaMelo Ball where he wasn't getting the minutes that he deserved. So eventually I do think LiAngelo will get his minutes. And right now, I don't think we should, you know, get too ahead of ourselves and say LiAngelo Ball isn't doing this and doing that. He will get his opportunity. We just have to be patient. And, you know, eventually he'll get there. But basically from what I've seen, LiAngelo Ball hasn't been bad at all. But the Hornets, oh my God, they're terrible. They're just bad. But yeah, it's pretty much my LiAngelo take.
That was a good take.
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, that's crazy. We got my man Nico. What's good, Nico?
Yo, what's good with y'all, man?
It's good. We in here with the legend, AB the Hero. We live. You know, we got a lot of legends in the building. What's the deal, Nico? Talk to us, man. What's your thoughts on the first situation?
To be honest, I had something I was thinking about recently when it came to Jello. I was thinking to myself, like, I understand he's not playing many minutes, but I want him to look like he's dying for this opportunity. But, you know, as I mentioned, I believe in last stream, I almost feel like he knows he's going to make the team. You know, like, it doesn't seem that urgent for him to give his full heart's content effort out there, you know, as if he doesn't have another chance. He seems more comfortable, nervous, but comfortable with the opportunity he has right now. And I just wish I'd seen a little bit more of the dog we know he is in going after this opportunity. And that's probably the main thing I could say with this Jello situation, because, you know, I've been talking about this for a while, but that's something that I've been thinking about lately. And so I just need him to, when he's out there for 2, 3, 4 minutes, I need to see a godly hustle, because it's part of his game. It's not like he can't do it. It just seems that he's content with, you know, not touching the ball. I understand he's mild-mannered. He's not really a rah-rah type, at least not on the court. But he's too smart to be content with the shit that he has going on right now and barely touching the ball, getting no play time, watching his teammates go away from him every time he touches the court. I don't know. I just think it's too casual. That's making me think he's made the team already. I want to know if y'all think not just that he made the team already, but if you think he's made the team already. Because I don't see that desire, that hunger.
I do.
He's definitely made the team.
No,
definitely.
That desire and hunger is there.
What I'm saying is when the minutes he's got, it's not like he's playing for his fucking life out there. It's like
you gotta keep in mind, though, Nico, what you want to do. You want him to be out there looking like a banshee?
His teammates are
control type. Come on, boy, that's regular basketball. You already admitted that. So you want him to integrate himself to that type of basketball. If I was Jello, I'd be doing the same thing. Hey, look, coach, when you see this film, you see I ain't a part of that mess.
Well,
I'm running my lane. I'm being where I'm supposed to be, according to how we said we're going to scheme for this team. When this group of guys come in, I'm doing what the coach say do.
Right.
So when you go look at that film, you're going to see me doing what you say do.
Exactly.
So if I'm doing what you say do, and those guys are not cooperating, it ain't on me.
Yeah, and
so
it kind of goes back to just like LiAngelo's play style in the first place and how LaVar Ball has raised his boys, even though LiAngelo Ball isn't scared to shoot, he has massive confidence to shoot it from anywhere. He's still an unselfish player. Like, he's going to play within the flow of the offense. He's not just going to, like, just jack up bad shots. I mean, so, like, I understand why he's going out there and not trying to force anything. Because if he forces it and he looks bad, that's even worse than not forcing it at all and just trying to play within the flow of the offense. So, I think that's the best thing for LiAngelo Ball to do right now.
And I think, too, it helps him when they go back and watch the tape and he's in position and they don't give him the ball, right? So, like, if there's a depth chart and you're the guy in front of LiAngelo Ball and the coach can see, your job is to find the open dude. Like, it's not right now in the preseason. This is not the G League, or this is not the summer league where it really don't matter. There's no translation. Like, the sets and things that you're running are probably not the same sets that will run on this end and all of that. So a lot of this is you're supposed to be somewhere, right? If you play with the third or the second string, we need you to make that pass, and you can't make it with a dude wide open. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's more beneficial for him to be where he's supposed to be than to be like running around there like a chicken with his head cut off. I will tell you this though, I'm telling you, if you look at the intensity that he's playing with, I don't think it's matched between the other guys who are in similar situations with him. I think that where he can be more intense is on the bench. Like that Hornets team, I was looking at this earlier, some of the highlights. If you watch the Celtics bench from that last game and then watch the Hornets bench, it's night and day. Melo is cooking people and the Hornets golf clapping. Somebody on the other end just go do a layup and the whole team is up, like they hands in the air, they standing up and they rah rah rah. And I feel like if he added that to his game, that would solidify his spot even more. I do, and I will say though, I agree with Dex and everybody. I think he might be on the roster already. I think he has done enough to where he should be good though.
So you want to turn LiAngelo to Cornbread Maxwell?
That would change the dynamic of that Hornets team. Right now with the chemistry issues that they have, like they need somebody who can get everybody engaged and hype into the game. Right now they don't have it. And I feel like if they could see that from him, that would be even more reason for him to kind of be with that team. But the being cool and just hanging at the end of the bench, I don't think that's the way to go.
That's the thing that kind of just sucks, because again, that's one of like just LiAngelo's personality traits. Like he's the type of dude where he doesn't get too excited, he doesn't get too like sad or whatever. He just kind of just bland, no emotion. So I don't blame him for that. I think that's more of a coaching thing. Like, coach, you gotta have, because that's what I've been noticing in the preseason is nobody has energy. The starting lineup don't got energy. The bench doesn't have energy. Like when they're playing, when they're cheering on their teammates, it's no energy. Like that again goes back to coaching. But I would agree, if he can do something that's off the court that makes him stand out from everybody else, which I already think he has. I mean, he's LiAngelo Ball, LaMelo Ball's brother. He's going to stand out regardless. But I think he needs to bring something, kind of like how you alluded to, AB, whether it's, bringing more energy off the bench, whatever it may be, to get him a little bit of an edge over everybody else. But I honestly think he already has that edge. Just him having his foot in the door makes me believe he's on the team. Or else he wouldn't even be on the roster right now. I just know that would make no sense to me. But yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And I noticed, AB, I don't know if it was your video or somebody's video, that when LiAngelo got up to get into the game, to sub into the game, only one person gave him dap, and that was Bouknight. Everybody else was like kind of turned away and just, walked in. It wasn't like a congratulations when somebody come off the bench and coming through the through the scoring table to sub in. How they kind of dap each other, get a little hype. Only one person dapped him. That was Bouknight.
Yeah, I think that I feel like that the organization is trying to act like nothing special is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like they are like, even with the Jello chants, like somebody was in on my chat was saying like, oh, did they just put him in just because they got tired of hearing them chants? Like it didn't look like folks were like upset that they were chanting Jello, right? It didn't look like they were like, oh my God, like it's so cool either. You know what I mean? Like everybody tried to like make it seem like, oh, it's not happening. Even though you could see like individual reactions of people being like, oh, here they go. You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, man, I think that it would be their team would be so much better if in that situation, yeah, folks like high five, slap, you know what I mean, and just got more excited for each other, man. They all are playing like they're all trying to get that last spot on the roster, and they don't want to make friends with nobody. And
exactly. And what are they shooting percentage from three? Because I think it's like 29%.
Terrible,
or 23%.
man.
Yeah, the last game was like 27, 28 or 27 in the last game.
I'll look it up right quick.
Well,
Yeah, it's really,
I didn't want
it's
to
really
say
hard.
mistakes.
That's trash.
The reason that because we know Jello's a dog. We know he's hungry for the opportunity, and don't get it misconstrued. I think Jello a monster. My thing is, it almost gives me the vibes as if he's already on the team versus trying to make the team, and that's why I brought that up. Because it's even though the team overall just gives you bad energy, his part has also been a little, lackadaisical, just out here. And I just want to see him, even on defense, be a little more aggressive, go for the steals you typically go for. Be the guy I know you are. Because, as I said recently, I think he got the fastest hands of the group. He always had his special ability of punching the ball out and forcing a turnover. And I think he can do that on this level also. I think he can be, a 1 to 2 steal per guy kind of guy. Well, throughout his entire career at that, just because he reads dribble patterns well, and he has very anticipating skills that many people don't have. And I want to see him showcase that. If you're not going to score, at least give me that on defense.
Again, it just kind of leads back to the initial thing where we just have to give time to LiAngelo to properly acclimate himself into the roster and with these new guys. So like a lot of these things that we might not see now when he's on the floor, and let's also add in context, like he's not playing 20 minutes. It's not like he's playing the whole game. He's out there for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes at most, 6 minutes. He's not getting like a ton of playing time to go out there and show some of these things. So again, it just comes down to patience. Again, when he gets his opportunity and he gets the correct opportunity, he will show himself. And I don't have any I have all the faith in the world that he will do that. So
exactly. And then you got to remember the guys he's playing with is the same guys he played with Summer League. You know that bottom five, that's that Summer League team, and some of them is part of that G League Swarm team.
Wait,
so
Dex, you trying to tell me
that's why you
all that play time they're still making the same issues and mistakes?
Oh, most definitely.
That's why the G League players.
Definitely.
In the G League for a reason, bro. If they weren't making these mistakes, they would be getting more minutes on the actual roster, benefiting the team. But they obviously cannot. So
these same 5 guys.
Same 5 guys. And that's a punishment to Jello, to be honest with you.
It is.
That's a punishment.
That kind of leads into what I was saying earlier, what we were kind of alluding to earlier is like, okay, well, it's moments where LiAngelo Ball's like butt naked, wide open, and his teammates just do not make the correct pass. You put him out there with LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball's going to find a way to get it into his hands, and this is probably where we can see him blossom. But I don't know why he doesn't throw him out there with LaMelo Ball. Like I want to see that.
Right, yeah, exactly. But you can even put him in with the second team or be 3/5 of the third team. But that bottom team, that bottom 5 team, oh
trash.
No. He would never see the ball. They would have to argue. McCowan, Bryce McCowan is the point guard, or sometimes Bouknight. You would listen. You got to call timeout and say, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" What is this? And they be like, huh? Because they think they balling.
Yeah.
They out there dribbling between the legs at the top of the arc and looking to, to go do a solo move. They want to be Kyrie so bad.
Bouknight wants to be, bro. Oh my God, bro. Nico, I cannot believe you were advocating for Bouknight last year when I was like, bro, this dude is trash, bro. I'm telling you, this man should not be on the roster. Bro.
I was saying Bouknight was awful.
Trash. Oh, you did? Okay, it was somebody else. My bad. That might have been. I forgot who it was. It was somebody.
Look, you know what? Good plug. Good segue real quick. I got like 2 videos up. I want y'all to see when y'all get a chance. It's just a simple splice to Bouknight being Bouknight. I think it's called "Ladies and Gentlemen," James Bouknight. And he just continues to get ripped every time he goes between the legs and lose the game in crucial situations. I'm not a fan of him. Only recently, like during the season, I was like, okay, I can see what people kind of see in him. But his handle trash though. I'm tired of people saying his handle all right. I've never seen a dude that dribbles as much as he does get the ball poked free consistently.
Ever.
Not even Jello getting ripped like this.
If LiAngelo can make it to the bottom part of the second roster, top part of the third roster, you will see a whole different LiAngelo, because those guys have habits that are decent and IQs that are average. Where them other guys, they don't even have IQ. They probably 0 on the scale. So that's why you see so much bad basketball coming for them. And they really think they're hooping. They think they're still in a pro-am league. And they don't understand. They actually in the NBA. So if Jello was to get with the Kelly Oubre's, the Jalen McDaniels, the Nick Richards, I'm quite sure they will give him the ball in his pockets, because they are such reactionaries and they know what to do and how to make a decent play. And LiAngelo will execute it. He will finish the playoff. He'll get the job done. He'll get the ball in rhythm. That's what I believe. But when you play with those other numbnuts, it's very difficult to get configured in a really schematic offense, because those guys just doesn't believe in structure.
So this kind of leads to another question that I have for the panel, because we keep a lot of, from what I've heard, a bunch of these things are like extremely negative, right? Like how we're talking about the bottom 5 of these dudes cannot even make the right like IQ play. So where do y'all? I have actually 2 questions. First, where do y'all see this team ending up? And then the second question would be, if you don't see this team being good or even top 8, do you think they should be in the mode like tanking mode? Like Victor looks amazing. That dude looks like he's gonna be one of the best players of all time. And then you have a couple other players as well. But so like, what do y'all think the Hornets should like do this season and for the upcoming future?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll take the lead on it. So to get everybody juices flowing, Paul.
Is that me cutting out or Dex?
No, that's Dex. Cutting out.
Dex.
If they can get Carmelo,
All right.
that's me. It's got to be me. What about now, Mike?
Check now.
Yeah.
I think the Hornets need to make like one move immediately prior to the season, and that's just to pick up Carmelo Anthony. Because first of all, he's a veteran. He knows his limitations. I don't think he's going to be disruptive, and he can give you some type of offense where you can kind of spread out a little bit. I don't know about 20, but he can give you some offense where you can kind of have some space. Right now, it looks like it's too jammed up in the lanes, because most of the Hornets players are soloists. They're solo acts. You know what I mean? You can't put them in a group. You follow what I'm saying? They're gonna act like David Ruffin. You can't put them in a group. They're gonna act like Cisco. So since that's the case, then you need guys that's going to be out there in the court, especially when Hayward gets healthy. He brings 20. He can bring 20. when Cody Martin get healthy, you know he's a crash dummy. He's a Hall of Fame crash dummy. So you don't have to worry about the toughness too much. Outside of that, they need Carmelo Anthony. I think that's the exact guy. They don't need no Marcus Aldridge. They need a Carmelo Anthony type guy.
Okay. So
that's the quick
for
fit.
now.
Carmelo Anthony, that sounds like a troll. But
I got something.
Yeah, I would have never expected you to say that.
I would rather.
I'll say
I would
this.
rather.
Hold
I
on,
would
what the hell is so funny?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you know, flat
like,
out Carmelo.
Look, what is Carmelo like? I don't even want to get into Carmelo, but
No, he's
okay,
for
so-
spacing, guys. He's not going to be out here, being all work, Carmelo. He's going to be there for spacing, just like what LeBron was trying to use it for on the Lakers. For decent spacing, he know how to stay in control. I've seen him play live. I watched Carmelo Anthony play live, so he doesn't do anything crazy. He stay in his spot, he hold his position, and he waits for his opportunity.
I see now. I don't have like if that's the role he'll want to play, I don't see a problem with that. But like my only contentions with Carmelo is first the age. The dude's extremely old. I don't know about bringing in an extremely old dude with like a young roster. I just don't. I don't know where that gets us. I don't know if that makes us a 7 seed, if we're going to be an 8 seed. I don't know where Carmelo gets us. And then shooting, he can shoot, but like the dude plays no defense. So I mean, if he's going to be shooting, he's also not going to be doing something on the other end. So like, I would rather use our resources for a better, younger player that has more potential that we can kind of invest more in. And develop a little bit more than Carmelo. But I don't think that's too bad. I just think he's more of he's a piece that we bring onto this roster if we're clearly a playoff team. If we're a team that's like at the end of the East or like a 10th seed, we don't need Carmelo. Let's get another young guy. Let's try to build him up. Even get LiAngelo those minutes. Like, why Carmelo? Like, LiAngelo can do that. Like, so I don't know, but I don't think that's a bad.
Speaking of LiAngelo, I don't want to give too much. The bottom line is this: what better way of LiAngelo learning than to learn from Carmelo Anthony? I mean, seriously. We have Ball Facts coming in, and the legendary Ball Facts stated that he believed that LiAngelo Ball plays similar to Carmelo Anthony, especially the mid-range area. He had brought up some different schematics that validated his points. So could you imagine if LiAngelo could learn from somebody like that? I mean, seriously.
What is he going to learn from Carmelo?
Wait a second. We don't give Carmelo Anthony enough credit. This dude is a hell of a locker room guy. I'm telling you, the young guys flock to Carmelo Anthony. Y'all got the stigma on Carmelo Anthony. Y'all need to pay the utmost homage to Carmelo Anthony. This dude is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play in the game, period. I don't understand what's this stigma with Carmelo
He's not
Anthony.
even top 30 flight.
No, listen, I don't. This dude is one of the greatest players to ever play, and anybody invalidate that. This dude is the first ballot Hall of Fame. It's just I don't know where it became trendy to clown Carmelo Anthony, but I'm telling you, this dude is a complete problem. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not so much now. Maybe not so much now.
Who is in the tail end?
Everybody's not around. Right, exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's not an indictment against Carmelo Anthony, but if Jalen McDaniel is just going to move at a turtle pace, you got to get somebody there to pick up, to get the job done. Until Jalen Melo is instant offense.
Pick up the pace.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, for scoring, not for running up and down the court, for half court scoring. Because when you run up and down the court, you got your JT Thorpe, you got your PJ Washington, you got your even sometimes Mason Plumlee. You follow what I'm saying? You got your Jalen McDaniels running up and down the court. But what happens when you come to slow the ball down? And the reason why I'm not bringing up LiAngelo is because LiAngelo is on the bottom 15. So if he do get it, he takes it be a blowout. Plug and play. Carmelo Anthony is definitely a plug and play guy. He knows what he's doing, and he's like a coach out on on the court,
Yeah.
and he's a good locker room guy.
And this dude is a hell of a rebounder. And this dude talks on defense. I don't understand everything that Carmelo would bring to the table, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This dude is the truth. I mean, this dude, he may not be the best defender, but this dude is going to lead your defense. He's going to be walking like a mother lover out there, man. I'm trying not to be
Carmelo
first.
Anthony.
I'm telling you.
Carmelo Anthony is 38 years of age.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm gonna try to be devil's advocate. I don't want to just disagree all the time here, but I can try to be positive here, right? So, since this team more than likely is not going to be top 4, top 5, they're not going to be where we thought they were going to be last year. Like how we were up here, I was up here advocating like 4th seed, 5th seed. I don't think they're going to be near there. Probably be 8th, 10th seed, maybe 11th, somewhere like that. So
you had big expectations.
Exactly, and they all failed. But so we win some, lose some. But if we do bring Carmelo on this team, I think y'all listed a few things, right? He can bring leadership. He can bring, that experience. He can be another veteran on the court that can, help the young guys. Because if we're going to be bad, this should be a developmental year. And if Carmelo can help with developing the young players, he can be on this team. So if he's going to do that, I think that's the best thing. But
I mean, look at that bench, Juju. Honestly, look at that bench. They're so dead. Yeah. Somebody needs to get their morale up, like AB the Hero said. Somebody needs to get these young guys' morale up because they are dead and stinking sitting on that bench. I don't know what's going on in that locker room. I don't know if it's that Hayward syndrome because Gordon Hayward has some grumblings going on dealing with his injury. So, and we know him and Tyrone Corbin have history together, especially in Utah, and it's not the best of history. And Tyrone Corbin seems like he's an interface, and he is very prominent on and in that locker room. You see, he walk up and down. You got the clipboard. He's talking. So I don't know. Something could be going on in that locker room that we don't know about. Maybe it was another fight. We just don't have the footage.
Well, I did want to say this when it comes to someone they can bring in. I need an Isaiah. The unfortunate part is Isaiah Thomas is perfect as far as his energy. He just don't have the frame and the body. He's not the God's gift to the team as far as his body. But I need somebody to come in and be willing to say, Melo is the guy. We need to get behind him, and this is the guy that we believe in, and we're behind him. We need somebody who's going to be willing to say honest things is what I'm getting at. I don't think there's somebody
Carmelo Anthony
now. Yeah, I don't think somebody on the Hornets right now saying that you niggas is playing awful right now. Why are you not doing this? Why? And this? I feel like Isaiah Thomas is the guy that would at least be honest and talk about bad play and the decisions that people should be making. And they need somebody of that cloth to come in.
Nico, I don't mean to disrupt you, but Isaiah Thomas telling you, and you 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", what the hell you need to be doing in a forceful manner. Or Carmelo Anthony, who got mitts. We know Carmelo Anthony got mitts. You know him in the Kevin Garnett situation, telling you what you need to do. Who you think they listen to? Isaiah Thomas or Carmelo Anthony? Getting in your face, telling you what you need to do. You stuck.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what they need, though. The energy. Isaiah don't have the package as far as the body, but his mindset was in the right place. And to even add to Juju's question, they brought those guys in last year, as far as Montrezl Harrell and Isaiah Thomas, the guys that really would glue the team together. And
that's a good point.
They let them go. That's if they had those same two guys on this current roster, we could think a lot better.
Montrezl Harrell's a little different than Isaiah. Miles is definitely different.
But Montrezl is an honest guy too.
Yeah,
but they got criminal cases. I mean, they had a situation where that didn't look good for the organization, so it was a PR thing.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. I didn't want to say this to Basil. You got to stop that. You're too intelligent. You're saying that Carmelo's better at 50. We better than Jello. Stop that.
Oh my God, I don't even know if Carmelo right now is better than Jello. I'm gonna keep it one minute. Like we talking about what Melo could do on the court. Like I think Jello could do it better. Like we're just talking about Melo. Oh, he'll hit threes. Jello can do it at a higher level, and he can play better defense. Plus, he's younger. Yeah, I'm taking Jello, but Melo's.
No, we're not saying that like that, Juju. We're not. I'm not.
That's in reference to Basil.
Yeah, we good, panel. I'm just talking about the chat tripping right now. But yeah, I agree.
I only inferred Carmelo for as a morale thing. You know, he already know he's in his dog tooth years. You follow what I'm saying? He's hanging on by a string. And I'm talking about Carmelo Anthony. So coming to an organization with Melo, who did a jersey swap, don't forget that jersey swap is iconic. You don't think he's gonna tell them people, look, man, y'all Negroes need to get in shape. This is LaMelo's team now. Carmelo knows what it's like being the face of a franchise. He knows what it's like. Nobody else in there could vouch for that. Say that again, Nico.
I don't think he thinks he's in his twilight, I would say.
Yes, he does. Come on, no, that's not true. That's not true. He knows it. He knows it.
Well, I'm not saying like he don't know it. What I'm saying is like I feel as if when he comes to a team, he wants to get his shots up. And he wants to participate.
Well, I don't know. He was well behaved with LeBron, so
yeah,
I just think
that's LeBron, though. Yeah,
that's LeBron.
I know, but this is what I'm saying.
This is just perfect. This is just. I ain't gonna lie, Dex. Like, not to add on to Nico's point because he is kind of crashing on you, but like, this is the perfect place for Carmelo to come and be like, all right, these dudes suck. This team is gonna be bad. This coach is not good. Let me just shoot as many shots as I can so I can get my next contract. That do sound like something he would do now. So I mean, it is possible that he would come into this situation with all of these different factors here and just be like, fuck it.
If Gordon Hayward was still the face of the franchise, I will concur. I will come to a definite consensus with you and Nico. But by his being LaMelo being the face of the franchise, I think he respects that to the utmost.
All right. We had to jump off of there. Man, we've been on here for a while, man. I might double back over there. I was trying to get this. I realized you could do this thing where I could send everybody over to that channel. But that conversation is still going, man. Let me put the link to that in the chat here so y'all can go over there and check out Flight Sports, man. And join that conversation that they were just having. I'm getting off here. Once you get over there, tell Flight that your boy AB sent y'all. You know what I'm saying? Show them some love. As you can see, they passionate and they know what they talking about. I agree. I see it in the chat. Folks talking about DeMarcus Cousins. I'd love to see DeMarcus Cousins come on ahead and play for the Hornets. To me, that's a definite easy dub if they go ahead and pull that one. But I'm gonna get up out of here, Groot. Y'all go tap in with Flight over there, man. Shemay, man, ABD Hero, we getting up out of here. Appreciate y'all being here with the boy. Curtis Hollis, your favorite player. That's a factamundo, man. Still favorite player to this day. But all right, y'all, we out. Peace.
Be the hero. No, not peace. +1, triple B's. We out.